This storm will kill you.
Look! I'm telling you! You know what I mean,
But
folks?
if rich people aren't looking out for us, who is?
It makes no difference which one of us you vote for. Either way, your planet is doomed.
You're listening to the Our Take Podcast with Brian Sherman.
He had a full head, all the way till the end. It was white, and I was hoping to get that. I was hoping to get like the full head, and it was really hard to cut it off.
And Spencer Rogers.
To be a good pilot, you have to be able to make good decisions. And I know what my credit score is, so I know I don't make good decisions.
This is the Our Take Podcast.
From Scary Parrot Media Studios in Ogden, Utah, it's the Our Take Podcast, episode 94. I'm Brian.
I am Spencer.
It's a special show.
It is.
It's the first time in TOTP history. I just did that for the first time, right? That too is new,
Whoa.
just so you know.
That just hurt my head.
Yeah.
TOTP.
TOTP history. We've got not one, count them, two guests.
2. I
Chris?
think the combined weight in this room is probably...
Well, good thing we're on a basement floor.
Yeah.
That's solid.
Cement.
The house, your house is tilting backwards right now.
Yeah. Chris, what's up, man?
Hey, buddy, how are you?
Doing well.
Good.
to see you.
Good to see you. Good to see the
This
guys.
is Chris's...
Did you count?
We're like platinum jacket level now.
Where's my record? On the wall.
I know. I know.
It's right there.
Oh, that
It's just a painting instead.
That's better than any record I've seen.
Yeah.
We bought that lamp, and it's dedicated to your many appearances.
I love lamp. Yeah.
Lamp loves you back.
Jake, what's up, man?
Hey guys, how you guys doing, man?
Good.
Good.
We decided to bring Jake back because he actually got us some listeners.
Oh, hey.
Yeah, Chris can't say
I'm like
that.
the little engine that could here.
Yeah.
When I found out I was coming on, I was really pumped, and then I was like, hey, I might catch up to Chris, and then I found out Chris was coming too. So it doesn't help my
I'm
numbers.
just dead air. That's
Yeah,
it.
it's true. That's in order to keep it even, we want to make sure we always bring Chris, so he's always one step ahead
Son of a...
of everyone.
All right.
It is August the 16th, 2020. On this day in history, the first issue of Sports Illustrated hits the newsstands.
Hey-o.
What year?
53.
Oh, shit! Close.
61.
54.
all right.
Wow.
Wow, look at you.
He
I mean, usually you're like
I know.
way off.
I know.
Like,
It's really-
you're off by centuries usually.
Yeah,
So
it's true.
I know exactly why you got so close. It was the swimsuit edition.
Yeah.
So he knows every one
yeah.
of them.
Yeah.
The first swimsuit edition was 53. The real Sports
Please,
Illustrated.
those
came out.
50s. If I wanted to see girls in like,
Pants?
yeah.
Old tablecloths
Yeah.
that are cut up. And
The original burkini is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so glad I was born when I was born.
I don't know. 2020, man. Anyway, speaking of 2020 and how it's been terrible, Brian decided to post on Facebook yesterday, I think.
I post on Facebook a lot.
Wow.
Yeah.
This week for you got a little out of control. But anyway,
My feed is full of police videos.
more on that. More
Very
on
much
that
so.
later. Brian put a little smile during this pandemic. The first 5 friends that reply with a
Oh,
sunshine on this post will receive something from me. Maybe a Venmo, a cookie, or 2. Possibly 2 cookies, a coffee, a gift card, lunch, a handwritten note, something small but random. The only condition, and this is where I tuned out, is that those same 5 people offered the same posting for themselves.
yeah.
Right.
And
Hashtag
I
pay it
just,
forward.
I didn't.
But guess
I
what?
didn't put a sun on there, and I want to tell you about the time that I was in the McDonald's drive-thru,
Oh, boy. Here we go.
and I get up there, and the cashier goes, "It's crazy. Someone paid for your meal. They've been doing it for like 30 minutes." And I was like, "Cool."
And you didn't do it. You didn't
And I ended that pay it forward
Oh,
right
You
there,
didn't
man.
do it. Yeah.
I think you're the first guy ever who got paid for it.
I
It's usually
shouldn't.
chicks, man.
Hey, man.
By the way, I was responding to someone else's.
I figured.
So I didn't write
Yeah.
that.
Figured.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my second cousin. I don't know what she is. But
Family.
she's a regular listener, Renee.
Oh.
And anyway, she posted it. Frankly, was disappointed with the response. Okay?
Yeah, we got Amanda.
Well,
we got
Amanda's my wife.
yeah,
Normally-
Jacob's wife.
And I saw she put that on there, and I was like, well, the crappy part about that is I'm now going to be paying for 5 things that somebody else is going to
No, because I'm just gonna send nice notes. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Here, this Coke that
But
you gave
normally,
me, this counts.
normally when I copy and paste, I usually remove those stupid conditions. You know,
yeah.
like Jesus will hate you if you don't. I usually remove those conditions because I don't think he's like that.
How are you still? Are we on video or are you?
That's not the video.
Oh,
but yes,
okay.
we are.
I couldn't remember. It was last week. You forgot to.
That's the screen that
you
people will
forgot
see when
to,
people show
Oh,
anything.
it's still our faces. That was
Yeah.
the last time,
Well, yeah. Anyway,
But
so
pay,
that,
pay it forward. I mean.
I always stop pay it forward.
But get this.
Yeah.
Did you see my post about like, if you owe me money, this is my Venmo?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
thought for sure that was like the Nigerian prince or something that had hacked your Facebook.
Eugene, friend Eugene, hardcore Trumper.
Yeah,
We argue all the time.
right.
But I used to work with him. Great guy. Kind of.
Except for the fact he's a Trumper.
No, he sent me $5.
Oh,
He's
nice.
like, go get a coffee, bro.
Sweet.
So you're good on Gene.
Wow.
I thought it was like a passive aggressive way of I was like, do I owe him money?
It was. It was.
I seriously did.
There's like someone out there who owes him a lot, and he's like, "This is I can't
was
ask
for
them
one person.
directly."
It was-
But
I want
Yeah.
someone to change my order when they do that.
what do you mean?
Like,
You know how like they paid for your
Oh.
thing?
Oh, yeah.
I wanted them to change my order.
Add a condition.
Go,
So
"You know
I'll
what? You
pay
look
for
like a
that, but
fish
on the
guy. You should have
condition,
fish instead."
on the condition, there's no caffeine in his.
Yeah, sorry, you ordered
No
2
Diet
Big Macs, but you got a filet of fish.
Sir, this is not my order. No, he said it was okay.
Yeah, he paid for it, so
Yeah, he said it was fine.
you get
Still
what
get my
you
Coke?
get.
No, you get Diet Coke this time.
Hey, I didn't. By the way,
Yeah.
at the Artake Pod on Facebook, Instagram,
man.
and Twitter.
Oh yeah,
Gotta
that's
plug
true.
it. TheArtakePodcast.com. You can watch all these now that we're recording
It's true.
and listen to all of them and shop while you're there. You may as well.
Yeah.
I got to put the new logo.
Yeah,
stuff
we got a
up.
new logo
Yeah.
and a new song and new guests.
Dig the new song.
It's like a
I
whole
know.
new us.
Yeah.
New song's good.
I have a quick poll.
For the two of us or for the
Everybody.
Okay.
So I cut my fingernails the other day, and I cut this one too short,
Oh, dude, it's the worst.
and it hurts. It's just so annoying.
It's
And
the
you're a
worst.
French
So-
fry guy.
Well, yeah.
Hurts like a son of a
No,
bitch.
it's true. I had McDonald's today. But I'm just
Wow,
wondering.
Good call. Good point.
Yeah.
I'm
yeah.
just wondering, what is your most annoying small pain? This isn't debilitating. It's just,
up there,
and
though.
it's not even all the time.
Well,
just when I do it a different way,
I
a
think
certain
that's
way.
the same as like a hangnail.
Yeah.
And have you seen that meme where it's
Right.
like, I'll just get this, and it goes all the way down. The
Oh yeah, that,
We all feel that. Yeah.
The most annoying pain.
I think like a zit in the nose or something.
Oh, you're right. I
Dude,
hadn't even thought about
miserable.
that. Those are terrible, especially when they're on the inside.
Yeah.
You can't get them.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can
You
do.
get a dental hook.
Even then,
Even then,
it's hard.
Yeah.
And then you end up crying.
Oh,
and
they're bad. They're bad.
like corn in your teeth. You know.
That's
Yeah.
not-
I almost said popcorn. In my teeth after.
You remember that Kevin
like-
James? dude?
that's more frustrating than it is painful.
That's true because you
True,
can just
true.
floss or you can go.
I've had
yeah.
something stuck in my tooth before, and I've left work to go to Maverick to get a floss thing because it's driving me insane.
I'll tell you, I know something
Yeah.
that's just annoyingly painful.
Huh.
Is I'm super depressed.
Oh,
Oh, that got dark.
But my doctor, who has been on our show, Dr. Bayham,
Ethan
Yeah.
Bayham.
I've tried every cocktail, and so I'm trying something new again.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm trying
Meth?
a Abilify. It's an
I
antipsychotic.
thought
Is
that
it?
was
Yeah.
like I thought that was like a Family Guy joke or something.
Oh.
Is that a real medicine?
Yeah, Abilify. It's literally an antipsychotic, and I'm really proud to be taking it.
And I love that Ethan he's just like, wow, let's give it a shot.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Wait, was that after all your posts this week that he was like, we
It
should,
was. No,
we
no.
should,
No.
we should get you on a
That's
Abilify.
anxiety.
Ah,
And anger. Just straight anger.
well, speaking of anger, I real quick, I don't want to talk about this long, but I was perusing Facebook and I accidentally read somebody's comments.
Oh no.
Oh, dude.
yeah, and-
never engage.
I know, and it was they were talking about the Electoral College, and this guy.
We were gonna do a whole show on that.
I know this. Just real quick, this guy says, someone was slamming the Electoral College, and this guy comes back and says, "Well, I don't want Dallas, L.A., and New York to decide who the president is."
You mean where the people are?
And then I thought to myself, they're not like the.
They never
you're,
have been.
You're still voting, like,
Well, and
it's-
historically, none of the big cities have ever been swings, with the exception of Florida.
Yeah.
But the swing states now
Right.
You
are
said, so you said not city. You're saying states, right?
states.
Yeah,
That's
big
true.
states, yeah.
Cities, yeah. I mean, you got a swing state. It's like
Yeah.
Wisconsin now.
Yeah.
It's like,
Right.
where the hell did that come from?
Yeah.
I just don't. I more and more don't like the Electoral College, and it doesn't make sense to me that
I get super torn on it.
Me too.
a cow guy gets to decide what.
I see, man, I get super torn on it. But if you go to the electoral college route, then you have to start going down the route of like, why does every state only have 2 senators?
Ranked voting.
That
Yes.
might
Would
solve
solve
part
everything.
of the problem, I
Yeah,
guess.
I don't think it solves like what most people's argument is, though.
No,
Yeah.
most people's argument is, I live in a rural community. I want my voice to be stronger than someone who lives in a dense community.
Yeah.
Do you think this has only
Which is
come up
weird.
since 2000 though? I mean, pre-2000, I don't think anybody.
No.
There was
gave a
one
crap.
more
No.
election. There was one other election
Because it was almost.
that the loser won the popular
It was
vote.
almost
Ah.
repealed. Like it was heading that direction at one point. I can't remember. I have to. I know we've talked a little bit about that before.
Because I know there's been 2 times, obviously, since 2000 that people got heartburn, but like after that, before that, that's when like.
I know Bush lost the first time he lost. The
Yeah.
second time he didn't.
Yeah.
Hillary, obviously, and
There was one more because I remember we looked it up at one point. I don't know what's going on up there.
maybe Lincoln. I don't know.
Lost the
I
lost the
saw-
popular vote.
I saw it talked about a little bit when Romney lost. Not necessarily because he won the popular or anything, but you could draw a line across the country and not touch a county that went blue, right? Like there was it was like a massive amount
Right.
of counties that went
Yeah.
red, and that was kind of their argument for like how is it possible that he could lose?
But-
it's like and I'm not saying necessarily the popular versus electoral college, but it's
Right.
just, my kind of point being you could kind of skew it however you want. Like
Right.
no matter what you do, somebody's gonna find a reason to complain.
Well,
That's true.
The thing is if you're looking at counties, and you're like, oh, cool, that county in Oklahoma went red, and there's 2 people there.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know,
Like
that's
the
the
Nebraska
point. Like,
stuff, and
it's
where
the
set
same
up.
problem that I continue to have with this new brand of conservative, that they can't take a thought further than one step. You know, they're like, oh, it's the geography that matters. But don't you see that?
Yeah.
Don't you see that there's only 2 people who
There's
live
more
there? You know,
Yeah.
it's the COVID thing. You know, like this is.
Yeah. Is this when like you all like this is why you brought me here? I'm the conservative.
No,
of the
because
group.
you're not a
This is the
neo.
this is the intervention.
You're not a neoconservative. You're a normal, respectable citizen. Rutherford B.
appreciate that.
Hayes, by the way, he lost the
Oh, I
popular
remember
vote.
that. I remember. Oh,
Yeah, in 1876,
Good year, man. Was he
I
he
remember that like it was
Republican,
yesterday.
Democrat, or Whig?
he was a Democratic Republican. I'm just kidding. I don't know what he was.
That was when they were switching places. Is that what?
Well, back in the day, we talked about this
Yeah.
last time.
Yeah, you
Jefferson
did.
was a Democratic Republican.
That's true.
I don't know what Hayes
I
was.
guess Trump is right.
Trump is a T. He's Trump.
Oh,
He's a.
I thought he went from one to the other. Sorry.
He yeah.
He was
well,
he
he
was
did.
he was a
did.
Democrat for a long
Yeah.
time, but
He's-
since he's been president, he's clearly just Trump.
He's whatever will give him and his base like excitement.
Right.
Really is. Yeah.
He's an R for racist.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, speaking of racism, I'm gonna go
nice
off.
segue.
I want to go on a very quick, uninterrupted rant.
He was a
here.
Republican.
Who?
Hayes,
Hayes.
Oh.
go ahead, Spencer.
Okay. Now, I want to start off my rant by saying I'm not a huge fan of the Black Lives Matter movement, and I'm not really sure why. I think it might be the same reason I don't subscribe to either political party. It's just that I don't like the idea of having to be all in, and I don't. It's almost like it's a political stance at this point. Like I don't know. There's something about it that just makes me uneasy, and I'm not really sure why.
When you
But
say-
what? Sorry, go ahead.
When you say all in, what do you mean by that?
Well, I mean, like nowadays in this divisive world that we're in, if you're a Republican, then you're a racist, and and if you're a Democrat, then you're a freeloading.
Snowflake.
Yeah, and
Okay.
it's I just don't necessarily agree with all their like defunding the police and certain aspects, and we can talk about media bias later, and that's kind of it plays into it a little bit. How you can twist any. Well, actually, this is all relative, but to what we're talking about. But anyway, that being said, okay, this shooting of Cannon Hinand, this 5-year-old boy who was shot and killed by his neighbor who was black. Now, there's a couple things that play into this. One is people are like, see, look. Look at no one's talking about this. This black people are killing kids all over the place. That narrative. And then there's the media bias narrative. But I want to real quick, before I talk about the media bias narrative, talk about how ridiculous it is to take this to, see White Lives Matter 2 situation that's missing the point of Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter isn't about black people just dying. It's about police brutality, right? For the most part.
Yep.
I just want to share with you a couple of white people who have killed kids.
Okay.
Timothy McVeigh killed 19 children when he used ammonium nitrate to blow up the Murray Federal Building. Adam Lanza killed 20 at
trying to make me cry.
What's the
First word of my house.
Sandy Hook.
Sandy Hook. Devin Patrick Kelly killed 9 at a church. All right? It's just, if this is your horse to stand on, like, see, look, black people, it's kind of ridiculous.
It's a bad hill to die on for sure. Because I understand if you want to protest this, it's awful.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
But
the difference is that this murderer was caught the same day
Immediately.
after a manhunt.
right.
And he's in jail.
And
if I could compare it to Ahmaud Arbery, who was murdered running down the street by 2 white men, it took 3 months for them to be arrested after the video came out.
Right. Well, and that's what I'm getting is that they are Black Lives Matter and this situation are not related.
No.
At all. You cannot relate them. I don't think, in my opinion. And I just think that standing on that is, I've seen some posts from people like, see, look, this is,
it's the new conservative. It's not Jake. It's not Jake, but it's the new conservative. Look, this is terrible. I mean, if this was my son, I'm not sure I'd want to be seeing this all over,
Yeah.
But
I don't want to politicize my own family's loss like
no.
that. Yeah.
And then you see horrible, just reprehensible comments on Facebook that are now being. So I don't know if you guys know the one I'm talking about.
Yeah, the one where
Yes.
Dante.
white privilege.
Yeah, something about it's vile.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah.
It's disgusting.
You guys can Google it if you want. But basically, he makes a pretty vile comment. Now, I saw this a few minutes after it came out, right? And what people aren't noticing, like if we click on this image right here, these replies are Dante admitting that he's opposed to Black Lives Matter and he did this on purpose to make them look bad. But you'll find this exact shot in, look at all these different, this is all Twitter, but you'll find it in many, many different right-wing websites showing how nasty the left is, when really Dante admitted later, and then this was all deleted anyway, and he's since, Dante and there was another one, I can't remember the guy's name, Kellen or something, they've both been doxxed. So it kind of makes me sick that when as we're talking about Black Lives Matter and people having a problem with it, that there are people like this who will purposely comment something just awful to make Black Lives Matter look bad. And simply because someone hashtags Black Lives Matter does not make them the leader of any chapter,
Right.
anyone of note. But the right, the crazy right, is using that as ammunition, and it's sickening.
The other part of this is, I think, has a little bit more of a leg to stand on, and that's the media bias of this story. And what you'll hear from more right-wing people is that this did not get the same coverage as some of the other, as George Floyd, for example. Now,
but we already talked about this,
right? But the one point that was brought up that I completely agreed with is that if this had been roles reversed or races reversed, it would have gotten way.
If it was a black boy murdered
It
by a
would've
white.
been
Yeah,
unreal.
it would have been off the charts. CNN, everybody would have picked it up.
Yeah.
This as it is now isn't getting. It's getting coverage now. It wasn't getting as much at first, and I think there are a lot of right wing people that are calling out, your left news organizations like CNN and those for not giving it as much coverage.
I just don't know. So you post say his name. You're doing. I don't know if they've actually had an actual protest for this boy, but what is it that you want?
No, that's
Because Black Lives Matter actually has things that they want changed.
no. It doesn't make. I don't know what you would protest here.
Right.
I'm not saying.
I mean, I think we can. How about just fuck anybody who murders anybody? Like, can we
Well,
just,
yeah.
can
I
we
mean,
just say that? Is that
what
fair?
what I think is, even though this story is horrific, I don't know that it needs national attention.
No.
Murders happen all the time.
Everywhere.
Chicago has so many every day that if nationally reported on, that's all that would be reported on.
Yeah.
Now, this one is specifically horrific,
Mm-hmm.
but to bring politics and race into it, I think is
People-
just kind of ridiculous.
People who are opposed to Black Lives Matter jumped on it
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
the same way
Yeah.
they're jumping on the sex trafficking thing, as
Yes.
if we can't care about more than one issue at a
Yeah,
time.
Yeah.
They're saying you know what I mean?
Right.
They're like trying to fill their feed with save the children to offset Black Lives Matter. Now, I'm a staunch Black Lives Matter supporter.
he has a sign.
Yeah.
That's
I
a
was
sign.
gonna say, are you sure?
I almost didn't come inside.
No, but you and we had a
Yeah, great
well,
conversation.
great conversation up at the cabin.
Yep.
You
Yep.
about this, and Jake and I are on the exact same page.
100%. 100%. It's possible to support the sentiment behind
Right.
BLM.
And I don't-
and be frustrated with maybe the organization.
Yeah, I
right?
don't want you to
But-
think
but
that
still be on
I
the same page.
don't support. And that's one
No,
thing I don't like
you're
about it
pretty
is
good
that
about explaining it.
is that if someone says, well, you don't like Black Lives Matter, so you must not care about Black
Exactly.
lives, and I'm
I
like,
hate that.
well, that's not exactly what I mean.
That's
I
not
just
true.
don't necessarily agree with some of the. And then we see tons. Brian this week went off on holy crap, video after video after
Yeah,
video.
yeah.
Well,
and there's
my-
plenty of those videos out there of police treating black people, or I think there was a couple white people even,
Yeah.
poorly.
I don't discriminate.
Yeah.
Police brutality is a thing regardless
Right.
of race. Yes.
But there were some other videos that I see this week where people were, hashtag Black Lives Matter, and I'm watching these videos and I'm like,
It's questionable as to-
think that the cop might have actually been.
yeah, it's hard.
Do you think your Black Lives Matter and your political party thing is connected?
Yeah, probably.
Because like you kind of agree with it, but you don't want to be associated with
I
the
guess
radical part.
I
of
guess
it,
I
right?
don't like to be labeled as something.
To label me is to negate me.
Yeah.
I think you bring up an interesting point though, which is identity politics, right?
Yes.
When you have the
Yes.
feeling that you have to be all in,
Right.
that's identity politics, and that's the problem. It's possible to be a Democrat and not support abortion,
Yeah.
right? It's possible.
Yeah, I know. My sister the other day. Oh, I was talking about my birds and how I was like, I don't like taking their eggs out of the nest. I feel so bad. I feel like I'm committing an abortion. And my sister was like, "Oh, so you don't agree with abortion?" I'm like, no, I never have. Like, that's not the.
No one wants
the
to
demo-
see people lining
Yeah,
up to get an abortion.
We've said this a million times on the podcast. It's not like Barack Obama was like, you know what? Before you serve in my cabinet, I need you to have at least 3 abortions.
Right.
I
The
mean,
same people
minimum,
who are
3 minimum.
The same people who are pro-choice are
the
also
better.
pro-birth control and boycott Hobby Lobby. They're pro-sex ed and condoms. They're pro all those things. Nobody wants someone to have to get an abortion, but we believe they should have a choice.
Right, it's pro-choice, not pro-abortion. I think those two.
It's a very
Yeah.
different.
I don't know of anyone out there who's like, yes, abort them babies. Let's-
Well, there are some.
Well,
to
Bill-
be
well,
honest.
Bill
of course,
Gates.
of
But-
course.
but,
I'm sure
you
there
know,
are. There's
So as a consumer of right wing
abortion.
media, so as a consumer of right wing media, I have a couple of points to talk about with a couple of these things. I think just to touch quickly on the abortion thing, I really struggle with that because I get like the choice, but that's the key word, choice, right? So the big right wing argument is you're making a choice to kill another being. And that's where it gets hard. And then identifying when is it a living thing and all that gets way muddied, and that's hard. But going back to kind of this main story, The biggest issue that people are having, like if you want to boil it down to like the core argument, I think you're 100% right. People are like trying to like keep your feed full of this stuff so that maybe BLM doesn't pop up. And I think that's absolutely a strategy. But the valid argument on the right side that I will entertain a conversation on is, did the system work to apprehend and to charge the person responsible for the behavior? Yes, it did. For this little boy.
Yeah.
Has the system in George Floyd's scenario done the same? You can argue that it's not been perfect, but the person who was responsible was put on leave, investigated, and is now being charged.
Sure.
So why do we have to blow the whole world up for that? I'm not saying that we shouldn't have BLM protests. I think that there is some issues there, but that's kind of like the right wing, if I were to boil it down, argument. And I think that there's some validity to that conversation because the system did work. Maybe the system has some flaws, but the system worked.
Well, and I think the question that Black Lives Matter would bring up is why the delay?
Sure.
And also, would it have happened if it wasn't videoed?
That's a great question.
Video's the big one.
Video's huge.
Yep.
So,
I do.
And Ahmaud Arbery proves that, at least in that case. The problem, Spencer and I have said this many times, we'll never have the same cop shoot a white person, then shoot a black person in the exact same scenario, right?
It's impossible. It's impossible to tell.
But you can look at the reason I share so many of those videos, just so you guys understand why I do. I don't just do it to make
kicks out of it.
Because he hates white people.
The reason I do it is because at some point, anecdotes become statistics.
Right.
Sure.
At some point, it's no longer anecdotal, right? And when you're, of course, my feed's filled with it because of the algorithm. And if I share one, then I see many, right? And I do. I watch them with the same critical eye as you. However, I have started to change my thinking, and I've tried to I've tried to take off the hat of the culture that I was raised in, right? And say, okay, I was raised in a police culture. I don't mean because my parents are cops. I mean, in the United States, you're raised in a police culture. So the ones that you watch where you're like, well, that was justified. You got to ask yourself, but that was because I was raised to think that was justified, you know? And there are still some that are objectively dangerous and, you know what I mean? They need to be shot if that's going to save a life.
Right.
So the one I watched of yours that you posted with the guy just hanging out at like the hotel or whatever, and then they went like
the white kid.
Yeah, he was just kind of like he's like, hey, you know.
That cop was getting off on it.
You know what though? What is so frustrating? I told you guys this last time. It's the senior.
That guy was a sergeant.
Yeah, when I start seeing stripes, it seems like to me they're the ones that are getting off on this shit.
Right. Yeah, because they're the ones.
That's the problem I'm having.
They're the ones who aren't supposed to. Right. They're the ones who are supposed to be collected, and a supervisor arrives, who's a sergeant usually, and they say, everybody back off for a minute. It's the same thing in the guy in Colorado that they tackled backwards. Remember that? Did you see that one? They broke his hand?
Yeah.
That was a sergeant.
Yeah.
And he was clearly dismayed that he tackled the wrong person, as if it made a difference. Because either way, that guy was just standing there. Whether or not he was a suspect, he was just standing there, and he tackles him from behind and flips him over like Triple H style and breaks his wrist.
Love Triple H.
You know?
My biggest problem, we had this conversation over the dinner table the other night, was even people in my family have this problem. Like, I'll be like, hey, so-and-so, where's my daughter at? Oh, you know, she's down the street next to that black guy's house. I'm like, wait a minute.
You mean Wayne?
Yeah. Well, no, that's my issue. Even some of my closest family members do it. And I go, listen, I realize that you were born in the 50s. It's just the way things roll, right? But listen, the guy's name's Kevin.
Yeah.
I go, I don't think you're telling a police officer where your daughter's at. He's 6'3", he's black, and he's down the street on the right-hand side, and he was wearing this.
Khakis and a black shirt. Right.
He's got a name.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Now listen, it slips, I think, with everybody once in a while here and there, and it's something that myself, being in a family that I do, have tried to fight against. But I'm like, why do we have to label people?
Well,
right?
I saw it in a completely different circumstance. Blake Lively was giving a speech about sex trafficking.
Blake Lively?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And the person who shared it to Facebook said, "I'm so glad Ryan Reynolds' girlfriend gave this speech." And it's like, what the fuck? First of all, they're married.
Yeah.
And second of all, she has a name, and even if she was not of note, even if she wasn't an actress, if she would just happen to be married to Ryan Reynolds, she still has a name. So happy Ryan Reynolds' girlfriend had the courage to what?
See, honey, I've brought you along for the ride.
Yeah, and like, I mean, you could almost argue that they're both equally successful.
Well,
anyway,
and
whatever.
with Ryan Reynolds on top of that, about where they got married. Did you hear
No,
the
the
story?
plantation.
Yeah, I'm like,
Yeah.
why does he have to apologize?
Why does it matter? Why does it
It's
matter?
pretty. It's a pretty place. Is he
Ugh.
gonna sit there and
Yeah,
go?
we have.
You know,
There's been a lot of that lately.
Cancel culture drives me nuts.
That
right
is,
now.
we've talked about that with the animation a lot, and that's kind of been
Yeah.
bugging me. I've been watching The Simpsons lately, and I realized
Nancy Cartwright.
that not only are they going to have to figure out the Apu situation,
Yeah.
but every black character on that show is played by either Hank Azaria or Harry Shearer.
You're an actor. Your
Yeah.
job is to
Yeah, I
act
know.
and portray yourself as
I-
something different. What's wrong
Now,
with that?
If I was alive during Reconstruction,
Yeah.
post Civil War, I probably would have burnt down those plantations. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah.
But at the same time, like I also feel like you can't judge a previous generation on our current mindset.
No.
It'd be like getting mad at my 3-year-old for my knowledge when she
Right.
does, because we're just different.
Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively aside, I just think that like the people, there is one thing, and you and I talked about this, the slave money,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? That people are benefiting still
Yeah.
from that very old, lots of money.
Yeah.
It's very old, and it was made because of slaves, and money begets money when it crosses a certain threshold.
It's true.
And
Yeah.
that,
Your money is making more money for you than your daily
Right.
job. Yeah, for sure.
and
Yeah.
I think when you're on the other end of this argument, that's what you're trying to convince people,
Yeah.
right? Like your family line was defined by this, and you're still benefiting from it.
Yeah.
Now, how to fix that, I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know either. And like people will talk reparations and stuff. We're like way off topic by the way, but whatever. But people will talk reparations and stuff, but that drives me crazy too because then I just think like, okay, so I'm going to pay for reparations to somebody because of why? Because my family definitely didn't own slaves, and I can't guarantee
No.
that you were a slave, and that
Yeah.
kind of I struggle with that. Like, but then because the only thing I can get on board, there's a conversation about because after World War II. They had the GI Bill, which was only for white GIs. They didn't give it to black people.
I did
And
not know
that's the
that.
only thing I can get on board of like, if we can go back and prove that your ancestors should have gotten that, maybe we give you free college. Maybe because now we need to do some reparations for that. I could agree with that a little bit.
College
because,
should be free anyway. At this
well,
point.
we disagree on that too, but anyway, but it shouldn't be as expensive as it is.
Dang
But like,
right.
because I think going back to the whole like I can't judge somebody because they were looking at the view through a different lens. I mean, post World War II, that's a pretty similar lens to what we are now. I think for the most
wasn't
part.
that long
I mean,
ago.
It wasn't
Actually, I
that
think
long
we're
ago. There's
closer
some
to
differences.
pre-World War II.
That was right around the Spanish
We're-
flu time.
Yeah,
right?
we're in pre-World War
Oh,
III.
dude. Come
Yeah,
on, man.
dude.
Can you imagine even if W said something like that?
And he
Do
was
you
pretty
remember-
bad.
He was really bad.
He was just a good old boy trying his best, though. He got a pass for some of that stuff.
I remember a computer game. This is off topic, but George W. Bush's head opens up, and you get to drop his brain in there. It's like one of those pet things.
Yeah.
And then as soon as you drop it in there, he kind of like sits there and it shuts, and then he says, we need to show some love for our,
It's where wings take dreams.
just whatever he,
We
And
need
I'm just like,
gynecologists to show their love. For
yeah, that's what it was. I'm just like, oh man, can it
I
get
bought-
any worse? Guess what? It got
Oh yeah,
worse.
it can always get worse. I think we've learned that through this. We've learned it through press secretaries, right?
Let me ask you guys this though: let's get real blunt here. Like, who really got the short end of the stick though? Current African Americans or the Native Americans?
Native
Natives,
Americans.
Oh
for
yeah,
sure.
definitely.
We didn't
Where's
like.
their attention?
There was no mass genocide of.
They took
black
the
people in
first,
comparison.
the
They got
first shaft.
stuck on shitty land.
They were
and
killed. Yeah,
killed,
genocide.
and
Yeah.
They were driven out
Can-
just the same way that black people
You gotta
were. I'm
think
pretty
that
sure they were
they're-
enslaved somewhere.
There's
Oh,
some back-
they enslaved each other before we got here. Before
Right.
white people got here. Yeah.
You have to think that there's.
They
some
gave
back
us the
that listen,
idea.
like,
No, seriously.
they got to be sitting here thinking like, man, okay, now it's their turn,
Yeah.
Because listen, I mean, I even got a family member in my that is Native American, and Yeah, I'll tell you what. His wife. Ooh, you don't want to talk about anything government with her
Yeah.
Right.
It's
because
still very sore.
oh my gosh,
Yeah.
it's down to the bone.
Well,
Yeah.
and the thing we did with Native Americans is really interesting. How we gave them sovereignty.
Yeah.
You know, it's a very different thing than what.
Sovereignty.
Yeah, we
Quote,
should quote
unquote.
that for sure.
Quote, unquote.
We gave them sovereignty on the shittiest land. Still made them follow some rules.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I want to go back to reparations though, because I had this conversation with someone, and I don't know. I would want way more information before
Yeah.
I were to make a decision on personal reparations.
Yeah.
But I would be totally down with reparations that infused money into poor communities.
Sure,
You know?
and I think that we're doing that to a certain degree, but not to the
No.
to the extent we should. And I think that like I'd be all for that kind of stuff if it was focused,
Right.
if it was intentional, and it wasn't just like, all right, just because not that you have to identify because you're color, just because you're black, you get $80,000 tomorrow, right?
Right.
Which some people are saying that's what reparations
Right.
are. There's some people in the government who are saying that, and I just like that freaks me out
Yeah.
because you know what's going to happen? A good chunk of people. Because if I got $80,000 tomorrow, I go spend a whole bunch of it on a whole lot of nothing,
Well,
and that's what's going to happen. And then nothing's
We
going to
see
be
that
beneficial.
we see that with Native Americans.
100%.
You know,
yeah.
I had
So,
when I was working for AT&T. Remember the store in Central Utah, Vernal and Roosevelt. They have a big Native population,
Huge.
and it was we would watch their metrics like
Mhm.
in real time, and they would. You could
Absolutely.
tell when the check
when
came.
the government check
you know?
comes, yep,
And that's not to say that I wouldn't do the same.
yep, yep. Sure.
You know, but because they're also employed,
Mhm.
but then they're also receiving a check.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I would want to see a lot more specifics and data on it, how we're going to pay for it. But I would be way more into something that starts to challenge root problems.
Agreed.
You know,
Yeah.
let's get teachers like you into poor communities.
Oh,
you know what I
thanks.
mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
No, it's true because you have a master's degree. You could go make a lot more money
Doing something else.
up in Summit County,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
right? And to me, that's bullshit.
100%.
I hate that.
Yeah.
I hate that because Summit County people are richer.
Yeah.
That they pay more in property tax, so their schools are better. It doesn't make any sense.
No. And there's some programs that you may not be aware of that exist that are trying to touch at the root of this to a certain degree, but I don't think that they go far enough. So, for example,
Like the title, what was it?
yeah, so since I teach at a low-income school, if I stay there for long enough, I actually will get some student loan forgiveness, right? Which is good, but I just don't think it's enough to really. It's like a dent in the problem, right? Because then people tend to leave really quickly afterwards, right? You have to continue to incentivize to keep people there. It's like there's like the Good Neighbor program with housing in rougher neighborhoods. If you're a teacher, firefighter, police officer. I know police officers is a hot button topic, but for the most part, most of them are pretty good people. So you could go get a house in some of these rougher neighborhoods, and the government will pay for half of it if you stay there for 3 years or longer.
Yeah.
Well, then they just leave in 3 years, and then it goes to somebody else, right? And so I think that there are some programs that exist that are trying to, but I don't think it's enough, right? I'm a big like less government fiscal
Sure.
conservative. But I'm all for signing off on bills that are really going to get to the root of the
Sure.
problem, 100%.
Yeah.
So,
You know, I don't know where you just went. It's cool though.
I'm looking for something for Chris's mic.
uh-oh.
Oh.
It's just popping and
Oh, is it popping?
It's bad.
Sorry. Do we need to switch?
You just need to pull that filter out a little bit away from the mic. Yeah. To talk about, be interesting to talk about police officers for just a second.
Yeah.
Because, all cops are bastards comes up a lot, especially in like Portland or
Yeah.
in any
Oh,
of these
yeah.
protests. My brother lives in Portland,
Yeah.
and he's taking
yeah.
part in the protests.
I
And
forgot he lived in Portland.
Portland is massively white.
Yeah.
You know, it's pretty much all white.
Yeah.
But he joined. He was protesting one night, and he joined with this guy. He didn't know him, but he appreciated his view. And this guy was saying, "Look, you're gonna hear things and see things that you might not agree with, right? Like, for example, all cops are bastards is gonna be chanted. It's gonna be said." And Nick's like, "Well, I don't know if all cops are bastards." He's like, "I know, and you're gonna hear that. And the reason being is if one cop is, and the system supports that cop, then the system is broken. And if the system is broken, then all cops become bad."
Yep.
because they prop up a system. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I think it's an important distinction to make. I don't know where it fits in this conversation.
No,
but
that's I heard the other day it's Ben Shapiro, another right winger, but he was
oh
like,
my gosh, dude,
but
he got lit up.
He did. You're gonna like what he said though, because he said he was like, if you have 100 cops and 3 of them are bad, then you have 3 bad cops. If you have 100 cops and 3 of them are bad, and the other 97 don't say anything about it, then you have 100 bad cops.
Right.
And I think I totally subscribe to that
Didn't
opinion.
you
I think
say
that's
that?
you said something similar.
I didn't coin it, but
Well,
yes,
he listens to Ben Shapiro.
I listen
He's
to
I know,
Shapiro
I'm a little
and,
surprised.
And Matt Walsh and Rush.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I do have a little empathy though, for police officers in that situation.
Yeah, that sucks.
Because I understand, and maybe Chris, you have buddies who are police officers still, right?
Yep.
I can understand why they'd be scared.
Yeah.
You know, you're dealing with a very powerful force, and that's part of the problem is we've given the police so much power.
Yep.
If you start to rub against the grain by ratting, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ratting. Look at any TV show and how they make internal affairs look, right?
Yeah.
I also I have a little bit of empathy for them. However, I think I try to put myself in their situation, and I think if I was scared to say anything, then I would probably quit.
It's fair.
You know, if I was too scared to do anything but couldn't support the immorality that I was seeing, whether it was mob-like behavior of, taking money or stealing, whatever it is, I think that I would quit.
Yeah.
I've done that at a job before where we worked, So anyway, I think it's just worth the distinction there.
Yeah, it's it's interesting. We went to a Walmart about 11 o'clock a few nights ago, and if you guys are familiar with the structure of most Walmarts, they have the 2 entrances, and then they have the fire lane in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
My son looks over and he's like, "Dad, what's that cop doing?" And there was a car that was backed up. It was a truck all the way back to the back, in between the entrances, facing out, and his back was all the way to the brick wall. And he's like, "Dad, what's he parked over there for?" And I'm like, "If I had to tell you, he's probably doing reports." And he's like, "Well, why is he parked there?" And I go, "Son, it's hard to explain, but let me just tell you this. Right now, he's in a very protective area. There's no one that's going to sneak up behind him." And that's the sad part.
It's
right?
true.
That's-
That's
that's
what
nice.
when I was on my ride-alongs, he had a church parking lot that he went to where he was, no one could sneak up behind him.
Yeah. Put yourself in a position to protect yourself.
Yeah.
And they're trained. I mean, they're trained to
Yeah.
do that. You know. Yeah.
But it's sad, right?
It is sad.
I mean,
No.
so we've got problems on both sides, I think.
Yeah. Well, moving on. Shoot, dog. I don't know. We kind of.
Well, I could tell you guys a story.
All right.
So this one's kind of funny, and it happened right here in our neighborhood.
Ooh.
So Ashley was out on a walk,
Uh huh.
and she came home and told me, she's like, I was walking. This guy in a truck looked over at me through the passenger window, pulled up, and then kept past me and then stopped. And then as she walked past him, he's like, "Hey, I just had to stop and tell you how beautiful you are. And like, do you need a ride?"
Creepy.
And I was like, "Okay, I haven't been dating in a while.
That works, right?
Is that something that you do?"
Yeah, I do it all the time. That's why my wife left me.
Still single.
You did it while you were married.
Yeah.
From what I heard, it only works on married girls.
Yeah.
I just thought it was like, I mean, that takes a lot of audacity. I'm not going to give him props by any
No.
means because it's kind of, in my opinion, it's creepy.
Hey, I mean, if you ask 100 girls if they need a ride,
Statistically, one of them's going to need
one
a
of
ride.
them's going to need to. In fact, that is what I'm going to be doing the rest of the night.
Listen, Uber is different, man. Like,
This is the world of like everything electronic. So he's like,
I'll identify. I'll be, if they're attractive, great. If they're not, I'll tell them that too. Like, hey, I noticed that you're not really that great looking, but do you need a ride?
hey, you know what? I appreciate your honesty, sir.
yeah, I do need a ride.
I was jogging, but I could certainly use a ride.
you might have a better shot if she isn't that good
If
looking.
you could
'cause
just
she
take
probably
me
get picked up
to the
that often.
methadone clinic.
Excuse me, ma'am. You're farly unattractive. You should get in this car.
Yeah. You look
No,
like
it's in a world where
you're
like
just ugly enough to
everybody's-
date me.
Everybody's online, like online dating and stuff. I don't know anything about it. I had a coworker who just got a divorce. I've been married for 11 years. She's
Ashley Madison.
She just she just got a divorce, and she's like, online dating is terrible. And
Yeah,
she's
it's
like,
stupid.
once you meet people, it feels like nobody knows how to interact in person anymore. So this guy's probably slightly creepy, but on top of it, he probably really doesn't know how to interact.
He
with
just
women.
swiped
I
right
don't know.
on your wife,
He
all right?
just-
He went down the road and he's seeing people. He's
Hey,
like,
look,
swipe right. Hey,
I'm flattered.
Yeah, right.
That's great. You know.
that didn't happen to you.
Right.
That happens to me all the time. Like, hey, I noticed you walking to your mailbox because that's all you do now.
I've seen you do it the last 3 nights.
We can switch gears here and talk about COVID-related stuff.
I really.
Oh yeah, I don't talk about that enough.
Yeah, because Chris, you've got kids.
Yes.
How old are your kids now?
12 and 14. They go back to school next week.
Are any of them still in immersion?
Both.
Chinese?
Yeah. Shui. That's water.
Fluent? they're fluent by now, right?
Oh yeah, they're very fluent.
Is that in preparation for
We were actually
When
gonna go
the,
to
China
China
takes
this
over?
year.
the upcoming
Really?
invasion?
Yeah.
Well, and one of their teachers was Josh Law.
Jo-
He
which-
hasn't been on the show, but he's just a good friend.
Well,
Oh,
Josh
okay.
was going to take us to China. That's
Really?
Where he was taking us.
Oh, my
that's rad.
gosh,
Yeah.
I would do that.
Yeah.
I would
So,
pay.
We had it all done, and in March it.
Tell me
Chris is
when
the-
you go. I'll go with you.
Go to Ground Zero.
Yeah.
His
I've been
kids
wanting
are
to go
the,
to
are the
China.
proof of that immersion is legit.
It's a legit program.
No, it is.
Like
yeah,
they're
it's-
fluent in
Yeah,
Chinese.
they're way
It's
good.
good, man.
And they were fluent within like 2 years. I remember when she was in like 3rd grade.
Uh huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She
in
was-
fact, I want to move to Layton now, and my wife's like, "No, we can't do that to the kids."
Get
I'm
you
like,
out of the program.
I'm like, well, that's the thing. We're like, well, let's look up who's got immersion, and I'm like, well, what if they don't have it? And they're like, we've got too much invested. I'm like, yeah, of course we do.
How do they keep it in junior high?
The way Syracuse has got it, they've got elementary, junior high, and now in high school.
Wow.
So
okay.
Once they graduate, they have technically an associate's
Yep.
in
Holy
foreign language.
shit!
cool,
Wow.
man.
You're
It's way
freaking
cool.
fluent in by 6th grade.
Well,
so
it
Yeah.
sucks too because I don't know about you guys. I took Spanish in high school, and
it's
they're
not
like
the same.
it's 30 years verbs that aren't being used anymore.
Right.
you
It's
know?
not the same.
So
Anyway, are you sending your kids back?
yes,
All right.
but
What
they-
district are you in?
Davis.
Davis. All right.
Yeah. So it's only 2 days a week,
Yep.
Oh, okay. And it's like 2 online or 3 online,
Yep.
right?
All right.
which
Hybrid.
I'm cool with. I
So
like
so this is what we were about to talk about before the show, but we were like, we better
Shut up,
save this.
save it.
Right. Now, like I said before we started, I don't have a horse in this race at all.
Yeah.
My
so you should just turn
cockatiels-
your mic off.
My
right now.
cockatiels aren't going back to school this year, but I do have kind of opinions on this whole situation. And I gotta say that I think it's stupid.
I can make a prediction. Can we make a prediction right now?
Oh, I got one.
Yeah, well, but let me just tell you why I think it's stupid.
Okay.
Just pick one. Stay at home or go to school. This
Well-
2 days a week thing?
You know why they did it?
No, it's just
It
it's
doesn't have anything to do with COVID.
no, it's just to
It has-
placate both sides.
Does it, Jake? No, yeah, it has everything to do with satiating, if you will.
Yeah. It's the mom that doesn't have enough time on her hands, so there's enough to do, so she's super worried and wants to send emails in protest and picket in front of the district
Right.
office.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, Quinn's in preschool.
Right.
We're not sending her.
yeah.
Okay.
However, both Ashley and I are very lucky to work from home.
Right.
Right. And Ashley can work from home permanently. It's looking that way for me, at least probably through.
The next year.
Yeah.
I'm
yeah.
at home until next
Our
year.
CEO actually did say he sent us a chart. We're about 50% recovered in my area of the business.
Department?
Yeah, department,
Team?
so to speak.
Area?
We're 50% recovered from the main dip. So we were
Mm-hmm.
averaging here, dropped all the way down about 50%. And he was actually kind of disappointed by that. Now he wasn't obviously taking it out on us. He just said this is going to take longer than we thought. And as an executive team, we're conservatively planning end of 2021 will be when maybe we're fully recovered.
Wow.
So, but anyway, that my point is that I can work from home, so I understand parents who send their kids back who don't have that benefit, which always brings me to I wish that, the government and other organizations would do more for people so they could stay home. You know,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, shut it down for 6 weeks, pay everybody their income,
Yes.
all that good stuff. Yeah,
yeah,
Yeah.
the church could do it right now.
You know,
100%. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. Yeah, the LDS Church could do that.
we have a mutual friend that is just had a baby not too long ago that she was complaining about the current format, which she lives in Davis County.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I watch videos on you making like crafts all day long.
Right.
Like, what's the big deal?
Just do your own thing.
Does
mean,
she
there's
work?
two
Does she work from home though?
I don't think so,
Yeah.
but she's sure home a lot.
Yeah.
You know,
Using
so,
a lot of sick days there, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm like, wow, you crafted a whole thing yesterday.
But
That's crazy.
we have the luxury here of having a teacher with us, and not just any teacher,
Oh, me?
an important teacher
Sure
for
thing, me. That's
for kids who it would be detrimental probably for them to miss a
100%.
little bit. So,
Yeah, a special education teacher. Yeah, so I work with kids on IEPs, which is Individualized Education Plan, which is just kids who have been identified for whatever reason. It could be medical, or it could be through. We can run a series of tests to find learning disabilities if they've been diagnosed with a learning disability or whatever. Then we kind of specify a day-to-day program for them to a certain degree. And
Tell
work
me
with them.
about the test that you give for a math learning disability.
It's actually pretty easy. It's no, I didn't mean it that way. So the test, I could tell you all about him. The best part about it gets you giggling. It's called the Woodcock Johnson, and so
awesome.
that's my favorite thing is to say that I have to give the Woodcock Johnson. So
Can I tell you? Can I tell you guys something? I have taken the Woodcock
Have
Johnson,
you taken the Woodcock Johnson?
and I don't
Just
tell
last year?
I don't tell a lot of people this. I did not have to take any math to graduate college.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you got placed. high enough, or-
I took. Well, here's
Well,
the
yeah,
thing.
you got to explain it now.
Here's the thing. All right, I was done with everything but math.
Yeah.
All right, I've been in college for like 8 years. I don't
it's like
know.
Van Wilder.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm
You.
like, I just need to do math, but I hate it, and I'm really bad at it. And so I found out, well, if you take this Woodcock and shove it in your butt, then you can take the Johnson Woodcock test.
Wait, you took it in college?
Yeah, and
Is it the same as the acuplacer?
I'm gonna guess it's similar. There's a similar concept behind it.
Because the acuplacer is what you take up here, like to go to Weber State.
no, the acuplacer is pre. This is post. This is. I went to the counselor and told them I'm bad at math, and they said, okay, well, if you take this and do bad, then you can take psychology. Was it psychology?
I don't know. I doubt it.
Really?
Yeah, instead of
It's because they
instead of
want you to
math.
graduate.
And so I will say this: I am terrible at math. I always have been. I may have a learning disability. It's possible. I also, on purpose, did really poorly.
Well, the
That makes sense, actually, from a university standpoint. If I was an administrator, I would absolutely do that. I would say, look, if your major doesn't require it,
Doesn't
because
apply.
Weber State, we did for my whatever end of when I was finishing my degree.
yeah,
The research we
capstone
did.
or whatever.
Yeah, the research we did was on Math 960 students.
Yeah.
And it was a gambling proposition of like questions. And it was the same odds, right? Like, so would you rather have 5 out of 10 or 50 out of 100? A, B, neither, right? Or the same.
Yeah.
And they always chose the higher
Number.
odd. Yeah.
Even.
And then we went on to do further studying and realized that I think it was like 60% of Math 960 students will not go on to graduate. So you have all these kids in their first semester taking Math 960, and Weber State's math department sucks so bad
It's terrible.
that how much money they're losing and how much credit or accreditation are they putting at risk by not having those kids graduate. So to say to someone like you you did aviation sciences, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, if your degree it's not relevant and you do poorly on this,
Then what's the point?
yeah.
Yeah. I
That
agree.
also that goes to show that the common myth that people have that flying requires a lot of math is total BS. It
It
doesn't.
requires memorization
requires-
of buttons.
Yeah, and calculators, and
does it
for
for you.
some things, and
That one
Yeah.
knob to do
Yeah.
your bearing, and
yeah,
then
it's
Yeah.
there's not. Maybe when you're a F-35 pilot, but not.
I don't know. Even then, I think it's more instinct.
Yeah, I don't.
Like,
I don't.
I can't imagine they're doing calculus up there.
No,
You know,
I'd hope they're not
I
while
mean,
they're flying it.
with the
most
exception-
pilots that I
like-
know are pretty stupid.
like I remember, like Apollo 13. I remember they do a lot of math, but that was when they didn't have the computer.
They're
Remember?
astronauts. That's
different.
quite a bit
It's
different.
different.
They're engineers.
And well,
and-
they were pilots first.
Yeah,
Jim
but-
Lovell was a pilot.
Yeah, I know.
But they had to do the math because the computer was down.
Right,
So they were like hand do, and they had, people on the ground that they could check.
right.
You know, people who
I
actually
mean,
do
you
it.
have to be pretty qualified to get into NASA, so
Yeah.
you can't just be
Yeah.
like, yeah, I graduated from UVU with a C minus average.
Anyway, on to the next applicant.
Yeah.
That would go.
They probably
Yeah.
get. Can you imagine the amount of applicants
Oh,
they get?
dude.
So were you?
Will Smith didn't make it.
It's true.
So were you insinuating people are not getting the education they need because of this, or?
Well, if there was nothing,
Mhm.
and for special education for sure,
Yeah.
you know, but that doesn't change how I feel about it. I feel that
Math is stupid.
we're not talking about math now. We're just talking about not
I'm
going
all
to
in on
school.
that one.
Oh.
Just
Right?
Yeah.
We're talking about going to school.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Well,
okay.
Whether you
We're
need to take it or not.
back.
Right. I feel like we're probably going to have a vaccine by, late first quarter.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that sacrifice in the grand scheme of things isn't that large.
No, in fact, that's typically for my kids. That's at the beginning of the second semester, so
Yeah.
their first semester is going to be
Does
chopped
anyone
up and
learn anything in grade school? I mean, really?
I don't know.
You learn.
I learned my
you-
times tables.
You learn a lot of
I guess that's
basic
true.
principles that do actually apply later on in your academics.
You
but
probably
what
learn more
learn-
in grade school that
What
is
you learn
relevant.
is more like it's more the routine, the attitude.
Middle
the-
school is
Right.
where you
Yeah,
learn
the way-
everything.
Which is
Elementary and high school is a complete waste.
speaks to the point. Like, if we're already going to jack up your routine by doing this A/B,
Yeah.
then just
So-
stay home.
So here's where okay. So
Yeah, let's hear your
let's
opinion.
so as
He's
an
a teacher.
educator, I actually have a very strong opinion on this, and it's that. So to backtrack just for a second to make sure that I'm not going to be mislabeled here.
Racist.
Yeah. COVID is a thing. COVID is worth being afraid of. COVID is worth being not afraid of, but worth being respected. It's worth it's worth all of the stuff to a certain degree. But we do know that the population that is impacted the least, and the whole spread of it, because people argue, well, kids are basically immune. I used to say that. That's actually not true.
Right.
They were sent home when it was the worst, so they didn't go anywhere. So, but we do know that those who do get it are significantly less impacted in comparison. Are there outliers? Absolutely, there are. But the kids in school, the long-term impacts, we don't know for all, but they're less likely to have a bigger issue, right?
Sure.
With that said, the CDC, the CDC did come out and say, yeah, we need to go back to school as much as we can, and I'll talk to that in a second as to why. But then the medical group over pediatrics is like, absolutely, you should too, because school needs to return to as much as possible to normal, as close as possible to normal, as fast as possible, right? And the reason why is because you have kids who literally rely on school for food,
Yeah.
for psychological services, for IEP services. I've got kids who read at a second, third, and fourth grade reading level, and what are they getting at home? I don't know.
Right.
If they got a good parent, that's awesome, but most of them, I'm telling you, they don't, unfortunately. I'm sorry, right? That's not, not that they have
You
bad
just put all parents in this
No.
county on blast.
not that they have bad parents, but it's hard to send homework home with a kid knowing that your mom is probably reading at a fourth or fifth grade reading level too.
Well, she's probably working 3 jobs.
100%, right? And so I think we need kids in school 5 days a week as fast as possible because of these reasons. And they also did. So I was listening to a podcast called Left, Right, and Center. Awesome podcast. I really like it. But they talk about they have a left-leaning person, a right-leaning person, like a very neutral middle, and I like it. And the lady on there was talking about you can't study what does like a full countrywide shutdown do, because it really hasn't happened in our lifetime. But they do have studies that are done on areas that had schools shut down because of like natural disasters, and they say that if they're out of school for roughly a year, that they come back 4 years behind where they left.
Whoa.
How can you ever make up for that?
Right.
If I have a kid who's already reading at a third grade reading level, in a year, right? Let's say I don't have actual full-time school for a whole year. What are they going to be like when I finally get them their senior year now? Because they were a sophomore and then they're going to be a junior, maybe part-time, and then a senior. You're never going to make up for the gap that created, and then what that's going to put them in when they go outside of high school trying to find employment. Like, there's a lot of long-term impacts that in my opinion, can be worse than COVID. With that said, I'm also privy to information that most people aren't. The district's policy is
Aliens?
15 active cases in any school shuts the school down.
Oh, so we
We're
got
going to get there really quickly
Like
with
2
a
weeks.
full 5-day schedule.
Yeah, it's already happened
So
back east.
I get that. And so I'm reasonable to say I'll take the hybrid knowing that could stretch out how long that we have them in person in any way, shape, or form, because I want them in person as much as possible. But I don't want to go full 5-day because I know that's going to shut it down. So
What's
quickly.
what's your over under on shutdown?
Ooh.
Less than a month, without question.
No,
We
I'm
will
the same
be.
way.
I will be at
How much
home.
money's in this pot?
I see at least 4,000 right
I
now.
would put five. I kid you not. I would put confidently $500 down on we have less than a month. I feel very. I'm like my wife's gonna be listening to this. Be like, no, you don't. But
right.
I do.
Getting
I
a little more
feel-
serious
I feel
now.
very confident with that because you think about even going half
It's
and
not
half.
that
now.
many.
For if people don't know what the hybrid looks like, so what it looks like is, especially in a high school, it's actually really easy in a high school.
Talking
You
about
have
the Prius?
you have A through K.
40 main PG. Yeah.
You have A through K, right? And then the rest of the kids, right? So A through K, they come to school on Monday. Everybody else comes to school on Tuesday,
the
and
way
then A through K back on Wednesday, right? And then Friday, everybody's
So
at
only
home.
half the.
So
Population.
only half the population. So in theory, if I got a group of kids that's 30 kids in a health class, I'm going to roughly have about 15 kids in that class. That's a lot better. It's a lot less kids in school. That's all awesome. As a special ed teacher, I love it because my biggest classes are about 12-ish kids. So I'm only going to have like 5 or 6 kids in a classroom, which
nice.
is awesome.
Yeah.
But
And you could distance them.
and I can distance them.
Yeah.
According to now, the new policy just came out for the state that's a little different.
Get a mask.
They're going to have to mask up, even if I only have 6 kids in a
Right.
room and they're all 10 feet apart,
Right.
which I can almost do in my classroom.
I saw that.
It's still too close.
Yeah,
for them.
Governor Herbert issued that.
Yeah, the CDC's guidelines would say that once they're in their desk, they could take their mask off, but the governor here said no. But
Wow.
but either way, we're
Surprising in a red state.
He's
Yeah.
got to hate that he took
So
this
it-
last term, right?
yeah, right.
Here's the deal. I'll put this up for people. So our number is obviously the number of people that you infect when you have COVID, right? And I understand that children. I mean, there's conflicting reports, but it seems to be the majority of them are saying that children don't get it, and when they do, it's not as bad.
Yeah.
Right. But if your R number is still as high as these, some of these in Northeast here, 0.8.
Yeah.
That's high. That's
Yeah.
really, really high. Like
Yeah.
if the flu was this high, we would have just as many people dying of the flu.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a very infectious thing. That's the
Right.
scary part about COVID. Yeah,
So
it's
if the
spreading.
child gets it, they might not even have symptoms. They might
Mm-hmm.
not even have to miss school unless they get tested and and have to stay home. But who do they infect?
Yep.
That's the
That's my
problem I
question.
have.
What are you
That's the
taking
problem I've
home?
got.
Right.
Yes, agreed.
And
agreed.
it's not even taken home. It's the one. I mean, I don't know about you guys. I've gone to parent-teacher conference. I've seen the teachers.
Yep.
If that's the last line of defense, their substitutes are going to be guys like, oh yeah, we're going to watch The Sandlot today, and if
Yeah.
you don't, go ahead and put your head down.
Well, and I can already
That's where we're going to be.
it's nearly impossible to find substitutes anyway. Like
Yeah,
on top of it,
exactly.
so
Well,
if a
especially
teacher
right
goes,
now.
I'll
yeah,
do
if a
it.
teacher goes home, and most of my substitutes are like.
Here's what
80
you
years
don't
old.
do, kids.
So
Yeah.
I'm not going to bring a
So
substitute.
do you know if the district is making any? Are they letting 80-year-old subs come in?
I have no idea, honestly. It was a point of conversation that we brought up because we have a hard time getting subs anyway. It's a thankless job. You either have a kid who.
Well, it's like what, $13 an hour?
I think it's like $75 a day or something like that.
Okay.
So it's but you're.
I make that every time I take a dump. That's not true.
That's a
big
long
day for
dump,
you.
dude.
That's not true.
That's a long
What's
dump.
that? Boss makes $1, I make a dime. That's why I poop on.
You know what,
beds
though?
sometimes.
That's Spencer's mantra.
That's tattooed on my tramp stamp.
Yeah.
I don't know if it worked out this way for everybody, but my kids, the day that they go to school, that's all their core classes. And then
Yeah.
on B day, I mean, my daughter's class is on B day, verbatim, right? Gym, dance, yearbook, advisory.
Oh,
Easy.
So
It's a
you
good
Does she
day.
really need to be in
No,
there for that?
just
No.
don't go.
Yeah.
And that's why I
So-
think like this is very reasonable. I feel for elementary teachers more than anything because I got so hot about this because somebody on KSL it's like they were saying
Don't read the
about this half and half, and somebody was just like, well, if the teachers don't want to teach, then they should just get a new teacher. And I was like,
fuck off.
they
get
should just
outta
get
here.
out of the
Yeah.
country, America.
Just go ahead and
you don't like it,
replace
then
you.
get out.
Like there's a national teacher shortage.
Not to
Good
mention-
luck finding somebody.
Most of the teachers I know, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, went to school to be a teacher.
To be a teacher. Where not
So what do you want me to do? You want me to
Yeah.
go be a store manager at 7-Eleven?
Exactly.
What you
Yeah.
know?
I've educated myself to the point where
Oh
I'm
my
like not very
gosh.
marketable in a lot of other places
Right.
in the world.
Hey,
But,
hey,
yeah.
you're very marketable.
Oh, thanks, man.
Don't
Yeah.
sell yourself
But
short.
he
like that.
was like, I have advanced degrees, and I was like, go shove that up because you know what your advanced degree does for you. Awesome, you know a lot about
Well,
something.
they were
but
from Stephen Henniger.
This
so.
teach it to 35 like hormonal driven.
I have advanced degrees from
16-year-old.
University of Phoenix. I know what I'm talking about.
That's why it's more of an art than it is anything, and it doesn't mean that, like, you guys here in this room, you probably could be a teacher for all I know, but I can guarantee on day one you're gonna go, what the hell did I get myself into? Because it takes time to develop that skill, and people just don't want to do it, and that's why nobody wants to go into teaching.
So the person who was saying they should get a different job was the guy that had advanced degrees?
The guy's like, I have advanced degrees.
What
and
does
I was
that have to do with?
That's what I said. I said, your advanced degree means nothing. Content is like less than, maybe this sounds bad. My understanding of my content that I teach is like 30% of my job.
Oh, yeah.
If that.
Oh.
The majority of it is classroom management, getting a 16-year-old who doesn't want to read, right? Dealing with a kid who comes into my class starving because he doesn't have food at home, right? I have to deal with all, like, this stuff is way worse, right? My girlfriend broke up with me. Oh, okay, well, let's talk about reconstruction.
Right.
Like, they don't want to talk about reconstruction in that crisis mode,
Since baby boomers, it's clear that we've used public education to build our superego.
Yeah. I get, yeah.
Right?
Mhm.
We use teachers to train our children how to behave.
Yeah.
And
yeah. Well, I listening to one of the best talking points I've heard about this whole pandemic is that it has revealed the educational system to be what it is, and it is a giant babysitting ring.
Right.
It is.
Right.
And that, like my wife and I both work, and when our daughter is old enough to go to school, there is going to be a moment of like, hey, that's kind of nice. I don't have to worry about babysitters. But if she were to be sick, I would immediately.
Yeah.
If she were to be sick, I would immediately find a way to take care of that, because that's my responsibility. I have had kids every year I've been teaching come to school sick as a dog, and I'm like, dude, you got to go home. And they're like, oh, I called my mom and she says she has to work, so she can't come get me. Like, what on earth?
Right.
So
Take an Uber.
What's going to happen with COVID now, right?
Right.
Are you going to do that during COVID?
That was the
That's not
question
gonna
I
be
had for
okay.
Quinn's preschool.
Yeah,
I
it's
said,
not going to be okay.
let's pretend hypothetically that a mom comes running in to drop off her child,
Yeah.
her 4-year-old,
Yeah.
and she has symptoms. Are you going to tell that mom no?
They better.
You better be telling me right now that you're going to turn that kid away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
But they
doesn't
won't.
matter. We made that decision anyway.
Yeah.
So
This question's probably not for Spencer because he's, obviously not got a significant other, I guess. But like, we're in Utah. What do most women in an early 20s, 30s, what do they usually fall back on as far as a job? Like
a server,
especially if they have a kid, right? They do.
So like
I do
babysitting or
daycare.
whatever.
I
Yeah,
do daycare.
Oh,
yeah.
daycare.
My wife did daycare for years, and you
Yeah.
wouldn't believe the parents are, oh, she only threw up 3 times last night. She's good.
okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like, if that's the mentality going into this,
Right.
it's
And
She
that's
only threw up
exactly
on
right.
a plane back from the Congo. So,
Yeah, right.
she was only in Florida for a week. It's okay.
But that mentality is not going to change to a
You
certain
know-
degree that's going to make it worth it.
Yeah.
You know?
And I was serious about capitalism, man. Capitalism has been relying on public schools for 2 generations now, 3 generations.
Yeah, I had a good conversation with a buddy of mine who's like he has a PhD in economics, and he's an economics professor at a university in Minnesota, and so this is a really smart guy. And the conversation, I could tell the whole thing was like, he's like, I know you are very right wing, and I want to teach you of my ways.
I don't consider you very right.
No, I'm saying that more
Yeah.
facetiously, but it's a good conversation, and I had this like aha moment when I was talking to him, because I was a little frustrated when people are like, oh, well, the government needs to subsidize childcare, and I'm like, no, they don't. That's not your government's responsibility. And I was all upset about that, and I thought, well, wait, we know the benefits of education.
Right.
Really, what's the difference?
In fact, one of the reddest states in the union, I think every county, speaking of counties that went red, is Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And they have free pre-K.
Yep. They did there was a
And
study.
their kids their standardized test scores are
Yeah.
high, in kindergarten or higher.
It's huge. It's a big difference maker. There's a study done on kids who were
smart
put.
people in Oklahoma. That's
They're Oklahoma smart.
Yeah.
oh, okay. Okay.
Like Oklahoma
Which is
hot.
still like 10 IQ points lower. No, but,
Okay.
but
That's
they did
the
a
biggest
study.
county in Texas. You know that, right? Oklahoma.
No, I disagree, because anytime I drove across the border, like
It's palpable.
You could go to a gas station in Texas, and then you cross the border, and the gas station attendant in Oklahoma's like missing teeth. And
How
it's
you
just
doing,
like,
boy?
what in the heck happened here?
Your one listener in Oklahoma is now pissed that you
Should
guys.
have been like,
Or he's shaking his head like, yeah, that is
Oh,
true.
Yeah, that's
oh,
true.
I know Billy. I know Billy.
you walk in, you're like, excuse me, are we in Oklahoma?
You
I
just-
didn't know how long we've been driving.
I must have crossed over.
this the panhandle of Texas?
We're not in Kansas anymore.
It's awesome.
What is this you put in 11 types?
We can talk about that other time. It's 11 types of media bias.
Oh.
That is coming from all sides. But we you know, we should we'll save that for another time because it's actually really long.
Are you trying to tell me we've gone long in our conversation? That can't possibly
No.
be.
I mean, if you guys want to talk about it,
No, it's fine. We can. Go
I
on
got
to the
something
next thing.
interesting here, though.
Okay. Well, hold on, because we still need to talk about politics and football.
Oh, no. Yeah, we'll get there.
Okay.
We'll get there. In fact,
Go.
this will be a good segue.
Great.
So I was curious how this race was going to shake out, and I found this website, 270 to win. Right? It's
Yeah,
like a.
Is it-
heard of this one?
Dale Earnhardt Jr. Did he? What race are we talking about
He's
here?
not even racing anymore. He
Uh,
retired.
Oh, you are right wing.
It's an interactive electoral map,
Yeah.
so you can see who's going to win, or you can not see who's going to win. You can.
You can see who.
Wait, George
Right.
Soros put this together?
Yeah. So let me reset this. This is when you reset it on their website. This is the predictions based on like different pundits and just kind of an amalgamation.
I love the stripe states.
Well, so the stripe states they have
Diarrhea.
they have electors who can go different than the popular vote.
They don't have to. Yeah.
Right. So that's why. And so what they're saying in Nebraska is there's one elector in that state that is a toss up.
Yeah.
So what I did though is I went to other websites like 538 and Real Clear Politics and looked at the polls in these toss-up states. And so I wanted to make a map, you know. And first of all,
What a nerd. Who does this? in
first
their
of all,
free time?
Texas
It's pretty purple.
I think might flip.
Texas is potentially a swing state. That's been in the news
This
lately.
So you'll notice they have Ohio as a brown, right? Like that it's a toss-up. It's the current polls are like 46% to 46.6 for Biden. Texas is pretty much the same, but they have them as pink.
And we get 20 more electoral college votes out of that.
You get 38. I mean, if
38
Texas
to
flipped.
18, right?
Texas.
Oh, yeah,
So we
18.
can forgo Ohio.
But basically, I went through and I gave these all to Trump.
He's got it on the table, man.
I give these all to Trump just so
Like
people
all
know.
the all the in between.
Yeah, all the in-betweens. People, just so you know, I'm manipulating the map right now.
that's fun. I like that.
What a liberal, classic liberal, manipulating the
I can't-
conversation.
He's
No, that
literally
is-
changing the votes right now as we speak. It's
I
crazy.
can, I can manipulate a
is
map,
how-
but I won't suppress the vote, Jake.
This is how the election works.
I could manipulate.
There's
the
just
mail-in
somebody
vote.
Speaking
back
of
there.
suppressing the vote, I was talking to my brother, and he lived in Salt Lake when W was getting elected.
Yeah.
And he said that the Republicans hired guys in suits with earpieces just to go stand outside the polling places
Oh,
to
man.
intimidate.
Wouldn't shock me.
Anyway,
They
I
did
just
that in
turned
the
all the
South in
swing
Jim Crow
states.
era.
I gave all the swing states to Trump, and Biden still wins. Now it's a squeaker, 275 to 263.
Squeaker.
But there is one other swing state here that they have going blue, which is Wisconsin, which could go either way.
Look how much he has to do.
But I think that this is going to go blue.
I don't know.
I think
You
this
think,
is.
I don't know that Texas will. I
Dude,
really don't.
I think
Here.
it will be close, but I don't
Let
know
me
if
show
they'll.
you. Let me show you. Let's go. So this is the general.
And you have Arizona pink, which is
That was them. That was them, not me.
Oh. I thought you were manipulating.
Not
Not
he
that
is
one.
manipulating.
Oh, that one was brown. That one was
Okay.
brown. So I turned it pink. Here, look at this. I got two in the pink and one in the stink, and I was.
I knew it was coming. I knew somebody. was
Look at
gonna say
that. Look how close Texas is. And look at how the spread used to be. So for people who can't see, the spread
So-
used to be 48 to 44 for Trump back in April.
Okay.
And now it's
where are they-
47.1 to 46. So it's 0.5% for Trump. And this is an amalgamation of all polls.
Where are they get these are all the polls, right?
Yeah,
So
538 goes through all the polls.
I actually wanted to look this up before I got here, but because I thought we were going to talk about something like this, and so I'm going to kind of misquote it, but you'll get the point. There was a survey that Fox News was doing where they were saying they were asking people, right, who are you going to vote for, and it was a massive amount of people saying Biden, right, which I think is very true. I think he's going to win. It's hard. It's really
Don't say it out loud.
Okay, all right, I'll
don't
shut
say it
up.
out loud.
But they were like, oh yeah, Biden. I'm going to vote for Biden. And then they were like, what would happen if we ask people who they think their neighbor's going to vote for? And it was like overwhelming Trump. They all were like, oh yeah,
Well-
my neighbor's going to vote for Trump. And their argument was they wonder if people are not willing to say out loud around others that they're willing to vote for Trump.
Yes.
And I thought that was a very interesting thesis behind this whole point.
First of
and
all,
I think that there's a point. I think there's something there.
There
No,
might be,
you're right.
but if
There
you're not willing to
definitely
say
is.
who you're going to vote for, you should probably reconsider who you're going to vote
I
for.
think it's a very valid point. Yeah, I'm not countering that
But
at all.
I
yeah.
will say, so a lot of people say that the polls were bad before the last election.
Yeah.
And they did. They were wrong.
Yeah.
Right? However, I was reading on 538, this website, that they were actually only like 1% further off than the average since 1972. So I thought it was
Yeah.
kind of weird. And that was Quinn.
Oh.
She's
okay.
screaming upstairs. So then I went to the Senate map because this is important. Look at this.
This one gets me more hot and bothered than president. I don't care if Trump
Because
wins
Mitch
if
McConnell.
McConnell's out. He's just so ugly.
And Frank, so I went through and same thing. I did. I think I gave all of the toss-ups to the. No, I didn't. There was North Carolina was a toss-up, and I gave that to Democrats. Anyway, I ended at 50-50, legitimately.
Yeah.
Legitimately 50-50. Which, if Biden wins, then
It's
the
51-50.
it's 51 because
I like
Kamala
it.
would
Yeah,
have
the
the
whole
deciding
thing, yeah.
vote.
Yeah.
But Kentucky, Amy McGrath, she could certainly beat McConnell there.
I think she's a little bit ahead right now.
Yeah. Anyway, I know I'm a nerd, but I thought this was interesting.
Yeah. I just want to pause for a second and ask Chris a quick question.
I would love to.
Did it
answer
make
that.
you uncomfortable when Spencer said "hot and bothered" the way he did in your ear right there? That got me a little. Ugh.
It would
It was
only
skin
make me
crawl.
hot and bothered if it was the first time.
Oh, I just about knocked over your lamp.
It's okay.
That's Chris's lamp.
Oh, come on.
Damn it!
Can we just say, talking about
Hot and
someone
bothered?
saying some hot and bothered and it getting to people? Man, Ben Shapiro, did you see that?
Which what? He's
So
been,
Cardi
like,
B's song, WAP, wet ass
I've
pussy.
only heard of it, but I haven't seen
So
it.
he
no.
read the lyrics to this
Yeah.
song, wet ass pussy,
I heard about that.
and
Have you not heard this song? It's disgusting.
I don't.
bad.
It's
no,
disgusting.
That doesn't
Yeah,
sound like
it's-
something I would listen to.
no, it's
Just
Cardi
Watch
B.
the music video.
But
That's
Oh,
right.
dude.
so it's talking about female genitalia that's wet. Okay,
Okay.
If you didn't catch that from what he called it
No,
earlier.
I thought we were talking about a cat that had fallen into a
A gutter,
lake.
a gutter,
yeah.
That's where my mind
He's a
went
very
to.
animal-driven guy.
but
Spencer.
Ben Shapiro didn't know what that was.
What was?
What when
A female cat?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, is
when, like when when the female genitalia gets wet, what that means.
Is this out there where I can listen to it? 'Cause
Yeah.
he's got a
I'm-
Pee Wee Herman voice, and that would I
Wait.
would love to hear that.
Is
He asked his wife, who's a physician, and
Yeah.
she said, if it's wet, it's a gynecological condition.
what?
Oh,
Yeah.
My goodness.
And he got he got lit up. It was pretty
Yeah,
funny.
yeah.
It was pretty
Oh,
funny.
yeah, I haven't seen like
Because
his
people were like,
iteration of
he
it.
has like 2-3 kids.
Yeah, like shouldn't you know?
You should probably know.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
pretty
Probably
funny
stored
stuff.
in the fridge.
Yeah, you can find the clip of him reading the lyrics, but he says like P word and
Yeah.
B word.
Oh my goodness.
He got lit up for reading that, and like people were like, "Oh, well, you're just against women's sexuality," and I was like,
If anything,
I mean,
if anything, I'm gonna light up Shapiro for censorship.
for censorship,
Yeah.
of for censoring the words.
Yeah, where's that?
P
Where
word,
did that right
C
wing
word.
thing all of a sudden go? You know?
Well, he's a family guy.
I know. No, Ben is. I don't like Ben, but he's.
Uh-oh, what do we got?
B's WAP gets white spling.
Wait.
Hey, it's Tetris, and these are your top
I'm getting sick of YouTube because
Yeah.
I can't just find the freaking
I just
video
want the
anymore.
video.
Yeah.
I gotta
Yeah.
see someone's freaking take on it. Some no-name
I
guy.
hate that too.
Oh, it's getting
Trolled you.
really annoying.
I give Ben Shapiro
There's
the
the
same
Ben
amount of
Shapiro.
credit as. Oh, someone remixed it.
Oh,
oh my gosh.
He's a great debater,
because he was an attorney. He was an attorney. He
Right.
should be good at that.
and
yeah.
Candace Owens is a great debater. It does not mean that they're right.
That's fair.
Gosh, can we just
Fair.
find?
That's it. He does the whole like facts don't care about your feelings like statement.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just watch the music video up before you go to bed, Spencer.
Well, then you won't go to bed.
That's true. All
be
right,
put to
so
sleep.
let's go politics and sports here.
Let's do it.
Oh,
Go ahead,
yes.
Spencer.
All right, so
Tee these guys up.
this is a good map here.
Yes.
Now, I follow college sports enough to make conversation about it. I don't know that Brian really follows
Not at all.
because of his hatred and towards football.
Yeah.
Not
if it doesn't
toward-
have a round ball, it's not worth his time.
Not even towards football. I mean, I don't like football, but I don't like college sports.
Oh, well, fair enough.
Anyway, moving on to the next
Yeah.
topic. I guess.
So
I'm just gonna go upstairs.
now
Drake.
I know that Jake here, he's a Bayou fan. Poor
I-
Bayou got their
I'm a BYU
schedule
fan.
just.
Oh yes.
Demolished.
What's the point? And
demolished.
I know Chris likes sports and football, but I'm not sure about your allegiance in college football or if you follow it or not.
That's
I am
true.
very, very active in the collegiate field.
Really?
Yes.
Who?
See, I know you love the Bears.
Yeah,
and
I
I know
knew
you
that.
love the Cardinals.
I knew that.
Wow.
And I knew
Keep
basketball.
that region. Keep that region going.
You Bulls then?
No, I'm a Jazz fan.
Jazz fan. Yeah, he's a Jazz. Come on. By the way, game 1 tomorrow.
Yeah,
Fuck.
big deal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's go.
Yeah, who cares?
Wait,
Um,
I'm a Donovan Mitchell fan.
you know their ratings are like way bad.
Well, it's because you're not watching.
Yeah, I know. I don't.
It's
What's
actu-
weird? Did I tell you this?
I think
that
it's just as fun
back
to watch.
like 4 months ago, I was like, I don't care what sport's on. I'm gonna watch it when it's back because I just miss live TV.
You just
I
got.
haven't tuned into a single baseball or basketball
No, no,
game.
no.
watch
You
any
were watching
baseball?
Korean baseball.
I did. I watched one Korean game,
Yeah.
and I was
Watched
like,
a
this
doubleheader
is-
yesterday.
I actually really enjoy the NBA games. I don't think.
No,
They've
I've
done
heard.
it right,
I've
though.
heard that they've
They've
done
done
really
it
well.
The
right.
bubble and all that.
They've done it right.
It's the only sport that could do that, though. No sport could do that like they've done it. I don't.
Right.
I think
I think the time
baseball
of year
definitely
was
could have if
Yeah.
they were to do it
They
in
talked
Phoenix.
about it.
They have so. If you've ever flown over Phoenix and looked,
They would just have to.
there
cut
are
their-
so many stadiums because
That's
half
true.
of MLB,
Yeah.
That's
15 teams do their spring training there, and they have like 5 or 6 fields per.
But they would only.
Well,
The thing about the NBA is they broke the last half of the season into what, like 8 games.
Yeah,
Not all
yeah,
the
yeah.
teams showed up either.
Yeah,
You know,
not-
there's only like a half of them.
Well,
Yeah.
because if you weren't seated in the playoffs or in the bottom,
if you weren't in contention,
if you
then
weren't
what
in
are you
contention,
doing?
you weren't in.
Yeah.
So
Don't say that to
baseball
Phoenix.
would have to cut their schedule by like 10,
Yeah.
like 1/10.
They did. Well, they cut
You
it
know
in
what I mean?
half.
Well, my argument for why basketball is the only one is a sheer numbers game. How many people are on a baseball roster?
No,
in
that's
comparison
true.
to a
That's
basketball
true.
roster? That's to me
Yeah.
is my
And
Works with
football.
the
Football's
NFL.
even.
Football,
Football's
it's-
insane.
It's not
53.
possible.
That's
yeah.
I'm really
Right.
curious to
Those
see what
pussies
happens.
can only play one
Well,
game.
with the
50 Johnson
NFL.
to go.
52.
Anyway, who is your college team? Ohio?
It's
I'm trying to Chicago. I'm trying to
Ooh,
can't
you're
think.
warm. You're hot.
Well, we
Midwest.
got Chicago
Where's
and
the
St.
mecca
Louis.
of college football?
Notre Dame,
Wait, today or
Notre,
South Bend, Indiana.
Notre Dame.
Alright.
Yep.
Notre Dame.
Yes, I'm a Notre Dame fan. Big one.
Interesting. They have unlike BYU,
They have
they
not
have
canceled this
made
He's not even Catholic.
no, but they have made independence work for
Well, 'cause
them.
They're the original independent.
Yeah.
yeah.
Tom,
Well, they've made it work because they also have ties that are
and they're
super
like
deep.
they're good
Whoa, whoa.
sometimes.
Whoa,
Like
back
they're
off.
not,
They're
terrible.
good.
They're not
good.
like they're not. Never mind.
Anyway, so what I want to get is your 2 opinions on this college football shutdown because we have the Power 5
Yeah.
conferences,
Power two support, yeah.
Pac-10, Pac-12,
That's the same thing.
Big Ten.
Big Ten.
Big
sorry,
Ten,
sorry,
Pac-12.
yeah.
Pac-10.
SEC, A.
No one
ACC,
cares.
Big 12.
Yeah. And 2 of them have called off all sports for the fall. The Pac-12, which
Yep.
is where Utah
Yep.
Utes play, and then the Big Ten. Is that
I
right?
think so.
Now, to my knowledge, both of these divisions, these
Yeah.
conferences, sorry, that's
Yeah.
the word I was looking for, the majority of their schools reside in left-wing states.
I'd argue that's probably pretty true.
Big Ten is not.
Big 10, there's
Should we
some-
here? Let's put up the
not
map.
so much.
Where
well,
are we?
The Pac-12 for sure.
Yeah.
Pac-12 for sure.
Except for Utah.
Especially where
It's
Arizona.
Salt Lake,
Yeah,
though.
but it's in Salt Lake, which is like the liberal
By
Mecca.
the
It's
by the
true.
way, this is the first.
It's way different.
I didn't even tell you this. I'm sorry. This is the first time that Utah's been pink.
that it's a little sway.
Yeah,
It's a little in between.
because of McAdams.
Yeah.
supporting
Yeah.
breast cancer.
Go ahead, though.
Well,
Pac-12.
Yeah, I think that there's a little bit of an argument that can be made there about that they're left leaning. But I think that like I hadn't really put much thought to like the political aspect of it, but for sure the Pac-12, they're all in states that are pretty heavy numbers COVID wise. I think though too, aren't they? In comparison, like California still has. a pretty good
California
high
has
numbers.
a lot. I don't know about Oregon.
Washington's come back in a good.
I don't,
way.
but but none of us,
Washington
none
got
of them
bad.
have had as bad as I don't think Texas. Texas is like astronomical. New York is the worst. in
Well,
the
New York's
world, I
so
think.
dense.
Yeah.
It's the it's just density. It's all related to density
Yeah.
in the population. So like Portland is bad, but Oregon is rural for the
If
most
that
part.
were the case, the SEC would have canceled by now, in my opinion.
If it was purely politics.
Mhm.
Why?
Because if you look at the SEC, they are almost completely red in that area, and they are too hungry money wise. Two is they know that they've got a good product and they can let their teams play each other, and it will make ratings.
Wait, so you're saying that if it well,
So
you go off
you're saying the opposite.
Yeah.
You're saying it is politics,
No,
and that's why
I-
they haven't closed.
No, I think the SEC specifically will do a one-off scenario. Everybody else could drop out, and the SEC will not. They're too proud.
That's
They're
what-
they have too much of a
I think
product.
that's
But
what
all
Sister's
the-
point
but,
is.
But when I'm looking on the map there, if you look at all the SEC country, most of them are all red states with the exclusion of Florida, which he kind of goes back and forth.
well, that's what I mean. Is that's why it's political, because we have some very red states in these. I was talking to my mom a couple days ago, and we were talking about voting, and I was naming off states that were different colors. I was like, Utah's red, and I was like, the South is red. And my mom goes, the South is red, and I was like, what?
At a
Me and my
fire?
sister both looked at her and like, are you?
Can't tell if you're serious.
Yeah, it's scarlet red, Mom. It's like
It's
dun
like
dun
scarlet-
dun dun.
scarlet
it's
letter
like,
red.
Hang the queer kind of. It's red. It's red.
So the one thing that goes against the grain, though, the Big Ten. Look at the Big Ten's a great example. The Big Ten is not all blue states. Like Indiana, of all, they've got 3 teams in the Indiana that are. That's like one of the reddest states in the nation.
Well, as you may or may not know, President Trump has kind of attached himself to the issue,
Shocking.
making it
He attaches himself to
political.
every issue.
Right.
So no one cares.
So he's talking about it, saying that it's the Democrats' fault that the college football season is collapsing. Now, I listen to the local sports radio station
Couldn't
here a
possibly
lot.
be COVID.
97.5 The Zone, Fox Sports Radio.
WPET
Yeah.
beat them.
And they have commentators on there, and some of them, it's weird, they have opinions both ways that are very strong. And I am finding myself kind of leaning more towards the just let them play situation, because
I don't think it's about the players.
well, and that's one of
It's
the
about the
arguments.
fans.
A lot of people, no, the fans wouldn't be there. That's already
They're
that's
not going
already
to get
done.
any money then.
The
That's-
TV money.
To me, it's all about money. That's
Oh, yeah.
That's, to me, it's 100%.
Well,
money.
yeah, and that's one of their
It's a slippery
other
slope.
points is they're bringing up player safety, which they've never really.
Cared about.
Yeah, it's like it's
Yeah.
football,
It's
the
football.
freaking gladiators. But
Yeah.
now they're like, well, player safety. We
it's
got
an
to be
argument they
safe.
only use like when they.
Right. We
need
don't
it.
care if you get concussions and
Yeah.
end up with Alzheimer's, but we don't want you to get COVID.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
So I think, if it is money, which I think there's a lot to it, but then if you look at it, the Pac-12 is probably the one-off of the scenario, right?
Uh-huh.
They're all in left-leaning states. They all go by the science, right?
Right.
My
Yes.
my right wing argument would be
Yeah.
that they know that the states are going to take care of their bills for them.
but
Hang on a sec now, Jake. You know that red states take more from the government than they put in than blue states do.
That's not necessarily wrong.
Yeah, because this state right here has the 5th largest economy in the world.
But if it was truly,
They're also like crazy amounts of debt because they give away money to everybody.
Right,
who
they
wants
give it to
walk in
they
the
give it to
door.
the federal government so that they can pay Kentucky to survive.
but if it was truly all money, though,
Mhm.
why not play?
Yeah,
Because look how much money they are going to lose.
if they are, and that's the
You know,
that's the one of the arguments is if they're testing, if both teams are tested and none of them have it, why are they going to get it on the football field? Do the helmets have it on there? When they hit heads, it's going to bounce into their mouth.
Well, what was
there's
Uh,
a lot of spit going back and forth.
well,
and
the-
Yeah,
sweat.
but they don't have it.
the story that came out that really made their decision
Uh-huh.
here was something about close contact and the respiratory system, and it was
Buzzwords,
late last week,
buzzwords.
right? It was late. I can't even quote it to you, but it seemed like as soon as that report came out, they all referenced it because I watched the Pac-12 unveiling.
Crumble.
Yeah, and they basically said, "Well, that report changed everything."
I would be
And I'm like,
interested in
This shouldn't be new.
because you guys bring up an interesting point with money because they're getting the majority of their money is coming from TV.
Right.
Oh, overwhelming.
So I'd
yeah.
I'd be interested to see what their contracts look like, because if their contract with the TV stations or broadcasters still says they're going to get money.
Right.
No, I don't think it does. I think
Yeah.
that it's a if you play, you get paid kind of thing. So
Okay.
you could use like BYU's an example, right? So they have an exclusive deal with ESPN.
That's why
where
they're-
they have. That's honestly, it's why they're still trying
That's
to
why
have a
they're,
season.
they're scraping the barrel.
Yeah, that's why they're wanting to.
North
because-
Dakota High School.
because they don't have a conference.
We're gonna play Provo High, man.
They don't have a conference that feeds into them financially, so
Right.
they need to sustain themselves, and so they get it's about $1 million a game that ESPN will pay them for every ESPN.
Is that it? I thought
game.
it was more than that.
I might be wrong, but but if they don't play, they don't get it. And
Right.
then in that contract they have like an option, so they have to play a certain amount of games on ESPN a year. I think it's like 5 or 6 or something like that. And then they can go up to like 8 or 9 depending on how good BYU is or how good the opponent is.
Mm-hmm.
So that encourages BYU to schedule good opponents, right? So but with that, they want to be on TV or they don't get the money. Simple as that. Well, it's the reason why I argue that it's all about money. So the Big Sky, which is Weber State and Montana, all those those little smaller ones, they shut down and they said we're not going to play till the spring. Well, you want to know why? Is because bigger schools started to say we're only going to play conference only,
Right.
Which means that they shut down their first game of the season. That
Right,
first
which
game,
is the crappy
It's
team.
the patty cake, right? It's Utah plays Weber
BYU.
State or who shut the hell up.
That's what it was. That's
Well,
what it was.
I know. I can tell you why that's what it was. That's not this scenario. But like Utah usually will play like Weber State or Southern Utah or whoever. Alabama will play like
pickup game.
Texas.
Yep.
Yeah, Texas.
They
A&M,
were,
Tech
you know,
Western.
Alabama was rumored to play for
But-
their first game now.
Well, yeah, it's going to be
BYU.
BYU. Well, I can tell you why that was too, and you're wrong. But they pay. But these big colleges pay the smaller schools about $1 million to
Right.
come and get their butt handed to them
Right.
as a practice warm up, and
And-
then so those smaller schools basically are just like, well, we can't. It literally funds our whole year.
Right.
We can't do it without.
The Mountain West also shut down
And
too.
that's why.
And Utah State's a
And the
great
MAC.
example of that. They'll go play anybody.
Yep.
Right.
They'll go get their ass handed to them by Wisconsin, but they'll say, we showed up.
What I
Yep.
do think
Yep.
is unfortunate, from what I understand, is that when you're in these Pac or the Power 5 conferences, you cannot play like the Pac-12. You can't just say, "Well, the conference isn't playing, but we want to play a few pickup games." Apparently, that's not. You can't do it.
No.
Which kind of
You're beholden
blows
to your conference.
because it seems like Utah could be like, "Well, you know, what, we're gonna go play BYU and USU and SUU and other teams on BYU's level." You know,
You're
like
such an ass. Well, but that's
UVU and USC
they
and
don't even have a
have a-
football team. We're gonna send the soccer team out against them.
But you have a really good point, though, and this is why conferences really do bug me. I'm not a fan of BYU's independence; it drives me crazy.
Yeah.
But I also think the conferences it makes no sense because the Pac-12 was one of the early ones where they were like, "Oh, well, we're only gonna play conference
Right.
only." Well, that makes no sense because now you have Utah, that's like an hour away from BYU, and they're not gonna play anymore.
Right.
But they will jump on a plane and fly to Southern California.
Yeah, that's
Because
safe.
that makes sense. Because that does what the heck's the difference?
what's the
right?
conference that BYU's kind of associated with, at least in other sports?
It's a way low league. What is
Pacific
it?
Coast League
Yeah,
or
it's like
something like that.
Gonzaga and all them are in
Yeah,
it.
and
It's
Pepperdine
yeah.
and
I
St.
can't think of what
Mary's
it's
or something
called.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're very. It's a very
the West
religious,
Coast Conference.
It's the
West Coast Conference. It's a
Yeah.
very religious-driven, lower level in those like Olympic sports.
Yeah, 'cause I know-
Christian label.
It really is.
So I know, to your point, you say you hate independence, and I hate it for other reasons maybe than you do. But like with Notre Dame, they've been independent, but they're only independent in football now.
Yeah.
They used to be independent, period.
Yep.
Ooh, that'd be
And
rough.
now they're a part of one of the hardest ACC basketball, especially if you look at basketball.
Yeah, it's a
Real,
rough.
real quick
They're not very
sidebar:
good. It's
why
rough.
is Notre Dame independent? Surely they could get picked up by any conference.
Absolutely because the conferences want them
Yep.
Right?
Yeah,
They
Big
probably
Ten's been
must
after
be
them for
making
years.
more money.
because they
Big
have a
time.
direct contract with ABC,
Oh,
and
that's-
all
yeah,
of their
okay.
games are played on
That makes-
ABC at prime
But
time.
speaking of
makes
which, I
sense.
pulled this up while you guys were talking. I did put it on the screen, but they
Yeah.
BYU makes 6 to 10 million
Oh,
annually.
see, I was way off. Well,
How many games do they
that's not
play?
wrong. They'll play 12-ish total.
So
I
it's-
mean, but with a bowl game, somewhere
And
in the
a bowl
neighborhood of
game.
12.
So there must be some sort of ratings involved with the estimate.
Yeah. So I mean, I think that they had. I can't read it right there real quick, but I think that they had something like 5 or 6 games that had to be played on ESPN. So I'm probably not wrong. Roughly about $1 million a game, maybe. So
Gotcha.
Crazy.
yeah.
So I got a question for you, Spencer.
Yeah.
Since this is COVID related, so take take all the sports in general, just not football, because we're gonna try and bring Brian back into the.
No, it's
fold.
fine. I'm having a great time.
So obviously basketball's gotten this right, but they had only a handful of teams that went down there, and some of that behind-the-scene footage of that place is unbelievable.
It's crazy.
How many
Yeah.
people out of the
It's a
wire?
it's a
and
giant
everything.
city.
It's crazy.
I haven't seen any of it.
But I think so we're baseball guys, right?
Yeah.
So this is I heard this on one of the people I like to follow, and as soon as he said it, I'm like, okay. So Colin Cowherd and Bill Maher were talking the other night, right? And it was a very heated debate about baseball specifically not being able to have fans in the park.
Mm-hmm.
They have cardboard fans, but they don't have fans, right? But if you think about it, that is one of the major sports that could probably get away with it, right? Now, granted, my team has been out for 2 weeks, and we're having to play double headers like crazy.
Oh,
right?
like they can get away with not having fans?
They can get away
absolutely.
with having
It doesn't.
They could get away with having fans, like 25% capacity.
Yeah,
could
just
be in
like
the
6
building.
seats apart and make sure everybody exits.
I mean,
in the right.
if you look at some of the ballparks,
Unless you're playing a dome, maybe.
They're like that in the middle of the day. In
But
most
no,
seasons.
even in a
Yeah.
dome, as long as you put people 10 feet apart and don't, you know what I mean?
Yeah, let's say we do one section here, one section there.
Those
and
places are huge.
And baseball, I mean, granted, you're outdoors most of the time.
Yeah.
And
It's all about the other stuff, like when you want to get up to go get a hot dog.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
that's and they could certainly just leave concessions closed, but I think that's what people worry about.
look at it. Look at the movie theaters. They're opening next week and the week after that. I'm really stoked about it. But if you've read all their policies, specifically like AMC, right? You have to wear a mask in the in the lobby, in the bathroom. But if you're in the auditorium, you don't.
Right, because they want you to buy concessions.
Exactly.
Yeah, and they'll
So-
close in a couple weeks.
Yeah, because there'll be some random outbreak.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll be there. I'm going.
I miss movies,
Yeah,
man.
so-
Oh, I miss
Especially
movies.
after last night, I'm going. Because even there, they if you've ever been to the Motor View, it's the bathrooms is not their biggest room ever, right?
Yeah.
And literally, there's one sink. Both of them are garbage canned over the top of the two. And I'm like, okay, so you're funneling it down to one sink for everybody? Wow.
yeah, there's been a lot of that I'm not understanding, where they're funneling people into one entrance or something. Like, why?
My daughter's softball.
Yeah,
team
yeah,
in
that's what
South
it's-
Jordan.
yeah.
We
Yeah.
had one entrance to go in and out.
Like, so
and I'm like,
Yeah.
this is
I think
the stupidest thing ever.
the hope is to not have this crossing.
But they
paths
could open
going
one
on.
exit, one. Well, I think what he's saying is open one for exit only and one for entrance only.
Right.
You got to put a turnstile in so people can't
Can't get back out.
can't go because people will inevitably they'll try and go in through
It's
the exit.
not like their contract is, I mean, we do one in and one out, then we know everybody that's come out of that, and then I'm like, give me a break.
Yeah,
So to end this conversation here and go to break, here's my basic opinion of all sports right now. Let's just wait. Just wait till next year.
Push it off.
Like, I don't know how football's going to work. I think it's going to be you know what bugs me most about the NCAA is how surprised and off guard this seemed to take them, as if we haven't been dealing with this since February.
I think
No,
they had
March
hoped.
11th.
They had hoped.
Right,
It would
and
die.
and it's just like it keeps. They're like, oh, I can't believe we had to do this. Not like baseball, soccer, hockey had to cancel their
Well,
entire season.
Let me ask you, baseball fans, does a crowd matter to you when you're watching it on TV?
Not the way they've really enhanced it.
Yeah,
last
it's
couple.
kinda-
I watched the
it's-
doubleheader.
it is
yesterday,
crazy weird.
And they have like the audience recorded sound.
Well, the NBA has it on the app. If you're
Yeah.
watching a game, you hit tap to cheer.
Oh,
And it
really?
puts cheering
Oh,
sounds.
that's
in
kinda
it.
cool.
Inside, yeah.
But
Well,
I mean, let's say they didn't have anything. Would it change your viewing experience on TV?
It still does. Yeah, because honestly, I mean, I was watching the game last night, and it was 3-2, and it's getting late in the innings, and I'm like, you would have had that place rocking, and it just gets the level of intensity.
They still have someone playing the organ.
Yeah,
They
That's
do.
what they need.
They're doing everything. Yeah.
But
I think that I don't know how they're doing the crowd noise, but I was watching a clip from a Rangers game. They were playing the Angels, and or maybe I think so. And they hit way out to right field, and the guy is about to catch it. It hits his glove, and it rolls off, and it ends up being a home run.
Yeah.
But somehow the audience it starts to simmer down when they think he's going to catch it. But when it rolls out and hits the back into the home run, it instantly changes to excitement. I'm like, How do they do that?
It's probably
They have somebody there.
It's on a
with the board.
delay, probably too.
No, I
Here's what I
guess.
don't get with baseball, though. Have you watched any games? I don't think you said you did, right?
I haven't watched any straight games. I've watched clips and
Crooked games?
back.
So here's what I don't get, and this is every person in society right now. I'm watching this baseball game. There's no stand. There's nobody in the stands, but the right fielder, when he's out in right field, has a mask on.
It's silly.
Oh yeah, that does seem.
And
A little
if you
weird.
look at the research of the masks that are good and bad, they're wearing the one that is
Why-
the worst.
Why do they have a mask on?
Because they're supposed to. Because it's been told to.
I thought they didn't have
They
to.
don't unless you're in proximity to the first and second baseline. But the right fielder out of everybody is like out in like Gilligan's Island, right? Why the hell's he got a
Well,
mask on?
you never know
Is it
when
a-
there's going to be a bench clearing brawl like there was a few
You
weeks
have to
ago.
get your mask
You want to
on.
have your mask ready for that.
Is that a
Especially if you're
is that
playing
a
the
rule or is it like a
Astros.
player's
It's
prerogative?
almost. I think it's player's prerogative because honestly, in my opinion, it's just like seeing someone wear a mask in their ar.
Oh, dude.
Yeah. It's kind of
Well,
weird.
did you hear about that? There
It's
was
Ashley's biggest pet peeve when she sees someone. She's like, "What the hell are you doing?"
There was oh shoot, I don't remember what I want to say it was in Wisconsin, but it was like a public office. They were like, well, you have to wear your mask even if you're at home on a Zoom meeting, because if people see the video, then it'll show that we're trying to be. I'm like, get out of here! Just
I would just turn my
Just
webcam off.
I know.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's not working.
Yeah.
I did that actually at work. I just took a screenshot of me and then put it as my background and turned my camera off.
Oh, dude, that's so good.
That's genius.
I just did it
So
to mess
good.
with my bosses.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
What was the joke? Somebody was like, wearing a mask in your car is like having a condom on all day long.
You guys don't.
You don't know when it's gonna happen.
What's the point? Well,
Wait a second.
hold on.
Let's go to break. I'm sorry.
Oh, did I just take it there?
I gotta go to the bathroom.
I gotta go change my condom.
I've got the other socks, Vince.
There's a South Park
He did say
episode.
he was getting worked up.
There is a South Park episode that is exactly
Oh.
like that. The boys think that they have to wear one.
Oh, jeez. I think
Anyway.
it's time to pause here.
Yeah. All right. When we come back, we have. Wow, we're already like 5 hours into this. I think. Was any of what we just talked about like?
Good.
Yeah.
Of course.
Did it all
Every
work
single word of it.
together? Brian keeps changing my.
It's 'cause
I
you
told
keep moving.
I told you I move constantly.
No, it looks good right now.
Well-
stop.
Don't move.
When we come back, we have random headlines, bad news for nude bikers, America's new air superiority weapon, chairs can drive, and in mosquitoes we must trust. We also will have Spencer's crazy will of things that keep him up at night, and a 4-way brainstorm on UFOs.
Are we gonna do left center or
and
left right?
Left, right, center. We'll have a little competition to see who can win that one.
All right.
All of that and more. Actually,
Wow.
probably not really more.
Just all of that.
when
Right.
we come back.
We interrupt your regularly scheduled program to bring you these random headlines.
We're back. We're back.
Maybe.
We're
In
back.
Oh man, that was a break and a half. Everyone changed their condoms, and we are
Oh, shoot.
ready.
And
Oh,
I
Brian.
can see Spencer's screen, and I wish I couldn't right now. I don't know.
Is that your spirit animal?
Oh yeah.
No, it's just over your shoulder here. It's
Oh, don't worry. I'm gonna put it here on the big screen. Just a minute. I just got to send it over to Brian.
I thought your spirit animal was something else.
The AP News.
not found.
This is really
freak?
heartbreaking.
Page not found.
Heartbreaking that it
Oh,
wasn't
you know
found.
why I didn't send the whole link?
What a dumbass.
It's true. It's true.
Spencer, I have a test that I give kids at work. I can come over one day. We could
The
spend
woodcock.
Is it the
We could
Woodcock
spend an
test?
afternoon, and I'll
I-
give you the Woodcock
I
Johnson.
only take the Woodcock Johnson
No,
test.
you got to say it. You got to Woodcock Johnson. Woodcock. Can't.
Oh, what a terrible name. Anyways, breaking news here out of Philadelphia. This is going to break a lot of hearts, but the Philly Naked Bike Ride has been called off.
Horseshit.
because
That is
you're
some
not going to
horse
believe.
shit.
Oh, cottage cheese? Oh.
You are not going to believe why it got called off. The coronavirus pandemic.
Oh.
Can you?
I thought everybody would be lactose intolerant.
Yeah.
Looking at cottage cheese.
Look
like
at-
that.
Oh, look,
Look
his
at that.
butt's on his
So
seat.
close. So close.
Oh, man.
This is the second episode in a row we've had naked.
We had male butt.
naked male butts.
Oh, they got more pics.
Look
Oh,
at-
do they?
There we
I know
go.
where they went wrong. They just needed to call it a peaceful protest, and then they would be fair game. What are they thinking?
That you know what?
Right.
That actually makes a lot of
It's
sense.
ridiculous.
So he just needs a Black Lives Matter tattoo.
I'm peacefully protesting my ability to be naked in public.
Guess man bods are in now, huh?
So, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is a thing.
Man
The
bots.
annual event, which
Dad bots.
usually draws thousands of nude cyclists.
You missed a good pun up top.
Where?
The coronavirus pandemic has slammed the brakes on this year's Philly
Oh,
Naked Bike Ride.
Oh,
PNBR.
yeah.
Dollar 10.
So yeah, it's off. So I was planning on going. I know that most of you were. In fact, this is a photo from last year. I'm this guy that's kind of blurry right here.
This guy right here.
Yeah.
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 I recognize your helmet.
Yeah.
Nobody has the guts to tell him, but they canceled it at that point, and now they're just saying
Yeah,
it's COVID
yeah,
related.
exactly.
Oh,
Yeah.
Spencer's coming? No.
Oh, we gotta
it's
cancel
off,
this thing.
It's off.
I mean, there's fat and ugly, but man, there's a limit. There's a limit. No.
I'm curious why that guy's crunching his butt cheeks, though.
He is. He's like.
Maybe he's
yeah.
just
He's
holding.
flexing for the girl that's taking
He's
the
got a
picture.
puck-
Why are there
factor.
girls taking his
And they're
picture?
all
I
young.
just,
And
I
they're
just
all young.
realized that. I just realized.
Yeah.
He's
What's
even
going on?
hugging a young one.
It must
Look
be.
at her
Yeah,
face.
He
Look
does,
at her
he has his
face.
arm around
Yeah,
one
he's
of
like,
them.
hey, girl.
Oh wow, that's weird.
Dude, this picture
Okay.
got creepier.
Oh,
and
she's
creepier
taking
the
a.
more we
Yeah,
look.
she's.
I
taking
didn't
a
even
picture with
notice
a
all
friend.
that.
Must be a cold draft.
And the
There-
worst part is they're all giggling.
There's only one reason.
Yeah.
It's either really
think I can, I
huge
think I
or
can.
really small.
If we just need one of them to be like,
There's no way that's an average sized penis because why would you get a picture?
yeah.
ridiculous.
Do you guys know how much our air superiority aircraft fighters cost?
Like an F-35.
An F-35.
35 million.
Yeah, isn't it like 35 mil?
This stuff kills me.
Actually, what the heck? Why did I type that? Oh, I typed in cost of, and
94.
it's only
Goodness.
94 million.
Yeah.
I believe the
Oh wait,
It's
the
only
35A is
94 million.
122.
yeah, it depends on
Oh.
the variety. So
Oh wait, whatever.
One lifts up, one doesn't, right?
This stuff disgusts
One
me.
lifts, one flies, one doesn't. But who gives a shit?
Now, I think is it the Navy and the Marine ones that's is like a Harrier, right? Goes up.
the Marine one is the F-35B.
That's
The
122
The
mil.
C has a little bit longer wings and much sturdier.
Vertical takeoff is what you would
landing
call
gear.
it.
Yes, that's
VTO.
Yeah.
That sounds like a venereal disease. I have VTO.
Oh. What?
Oh, venereal takeoff.
Yes.
Venereal takeoff?
Venereal takeoff.
Oh my gosh.
You should-
So
Change the band
That's right.
I believe that the F-22, which was our other air superiority fighter, it was close to like 200 million or something.
I'm
See,
on
the
it.
price is coming
Holy
up.
Dude,
shit.
339.
Are
Is
you
that
kidding me?
What?
Those aren't.
Equals to.
Yeah, that's not right.
Okay,
I pulled
alright.
up that. I pulled up that story, and that's actually not.
Whoa.
Anyway, what I'm getting to
Inflation.
is that there is something much cheaper that we could be using.
I've seen this story.
Okay,
Okay.
it basically costs nothing. Definitely less than even $1 million. It's probably like $1,000 a year.
Yeah.
But so there's a guy in Michigan. He launched an aerial assault. No, he launched a drone. Okay, just your normal everyday drone.
like a four prop.
Yeah, I believe so.
Like
I
a
believe
phone
so.
attached kinda thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's just out there enjoying his day, and then out of nowhere, a bald eagle comes,
Takes it out.
takes
Yeah.
that thing out, and apparently, the way that the story paints it, it makes it sound like the drone is dying and it's
Yeah.
sending out
Yeah.
last messages to
I love you,
to-
honey. I love you.
Don't
Yeah.
know, Mom, not coming home.
Tell Tony Tim I won't be coming home this Christmas.
So the bird attacked it. I guess it thought it was a seagull. I don't know how they can prove that. But if we took these eagles, all right, and invested them, we could train them to drop bombs, to attack other drones.
Remember?
Yeah, they did that with pigeons.
Yeah.
and wasn't it
Bats.
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 In World War II. It was
yeah?
it was either going to be bats with bombs or the Manhattan Project. I'm serious. And Roosevelt went with the Manhattan
Apparently,
Project.
we
can't
still
imagine
have manatees, and
the
beluga
Navy.
whales in
For
the
the
Navy.
Navy,
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't know exactly what they do. It's like top secret.
Manatee?
Manatees.
Why do we
sea
have
cows.
manatees?
I don't know, because they're
What
smart.
are they? What could they do?
They're large and plump. And
They're
in the
actually
ocean.
really intelligent. They can actually like type with their flippers.
They could type with their mind.
Yeah. Oh, here it is. The drone sent 27 warning notifications in the 3.5 seconds that it took to spiral to the water, including one noting the propeller was missing.
Eject.
Tell my wife I love her.
In
I can't punch out. I can't punch out.
unrelated news story, the government just announced an F-40 bald eagle that costs $400 million.
I could
Because they'll
see.
find a way to make
I
it
could
cost
totally
that
Oh
much
yeah,
money.
I know it's true.
I could see Trump commissioning that. The
Oh.
paint an F-35 to look like a bald eagle.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
sure.
Right.
You should see
Put it like a horn that sounds like an eagle.
the F-16. The F-16.
I love your sound effects.
Type in F-16 demo team and see what they did to it. That there was a lot that was going into this year's demonstration teams, but they all got canceled for the most part.
Yeah.
You want to like play a video here?
No. Just look at the go to images
Okay.
So,
and see that.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Oh.
they made it look like a snake.
Right on.
that's cool. See,
Oh, that's
this
cool.
is the crap that drives me crazy. Because how much money? I'm all for defense. How much money is
I'm not.
wasted yearly?
I'll tell you exactly
we
how
need
much.
to take-
$750 billion.
Yeah, we need to take half of what Bezos is worth because that's the number one problem in our country.
$750 billion per year.
That drives me nuts.
Oh, that's cool.
We need to have it, but come on.
I like the
That
demo team.
doesn't look
so
like-
cute.
is that it?
No, hey, that's it. We talked about this last time I
Well,
was on. I live
yeah.
in the flight zone, and
Yeah.
the 5-year-old boy comes alive in me every time. I'm like,
Well,
this is amazing. But
we
it's,
talked about
it's
it.
so wasteful.
We talked about it, though. It was something because it's bureaucracy.
Yeah.
They're like, the money's already been appropriated.
Yep.
Right.
So
It's
we
bullshit,
fly anyway.
though.
It's bull.
Because
it's such
if-
a waste.
Yeah, because if they don't spend it, then they have to give it back.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like every time they fly over, it's just like, and that would have been 5 brand
man.
new high schools with laptops for all 2,000 kids in each
I
school.
miss-
like,
can I
That's
tell
a
you
bit
that-
of an exaggeration.
I don't know that it is.
No, it's never. We looked up.
It's-
We looked up the
yeah,
cost.
It's a lot.
Dude,
unbelievable.
I miss the F-16s.
Yeah, they
The
select
F-35s are just too loud.
Oh, I love them.
but they're cool.
They're cool, but they're freaking loud.
I
And
watch
then,
them every day.
like they don't even go that fast and loud.
Well,
They're very
like-
powerful. Yeah.
that's. I don't know if you know how
Felt like I was
airplanes
at home there
land,
for a second.
but they don't land fast.
to-
That
no,
would
They're
be-
not
Brian.
landing when they come over here. They're going out west. You can see them.
To Brian's
No, I don't know.
point,
They
though,
land
they're
at my
supposed to be
house.
stealth-esque, but you could
They're
sure as hell
not.
hear them from a long time.
No, that's the
Not when they're going
point.
faster.
That's the point is that you never see them.
You just hear them.
You just die, and then later you hear them.
Oh,
Is
I
that
can
a
hear
plane?
'em.
Boom!
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
because
hear
they're
'em take
going.
off.
They,
First of all, they launch their missiles from like 20 miles away.
no more. It's like 120.
and they're going supersonic.
I will say
so-
this, living here, though, I can't imagine not hearing them.
I know.
Yeah, it becomes normal.
Yeah.
We moved significantly closer to base than where we were, and it's
They literally
it's an
come. They
adjustment,
come
but-
directly over my house.
Yeah,
like
me
the
too.
the house shakes.
Me too.
I'm
And
telling you.
when the demo pilot does, she sometimes
Ooh.
flies around. She'll light her afterburner.
It's unreal.
It's earth shattering. If you have the
Yeah.
window open, you're like, nah.
Our
I'm telling
TV
you, they
will
do
rock.
it. The people in like Syracuse, I think,
Mhm.
I think they complained.
Yeah.
Because I've talked about this with you before.
Mm-hmm.
The runway goes north to south, takeoff and landing.
Mhm.
They land on the north side. They also take off from the north side. But when they're going out west, they fly up to Ogden and then go out west.
See,
I'm telling you that someone complained. They did the same thing with civilian aircraft years ago to not fly over Cottonwood Heights.
Yeah, maybe.
You make a lot of money in a neighborhood. You have a lot of
Yeah.
sway.
you can sit on my deck at night and you can go
Sit on my deck.
commercial.
UFO
military,
commercial.
military.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, we're so close. We have commercial doesn't fly over at all. I see no commercial.
You can
over
see
my
them; they're
house.
just really high,
Well,
and they're
yeah,
well,
but-
they're on their approach. It depends.
Depends
I don't
on-
want to get into it all, but it
They're
depends on the
approaching from the
approach they're
south.
taking.
Some are pretty low. I'm
Yeah.
shocked.
If you
that's
sit
so
on
far.
89, you can see them all approaching from the south.
I had a giant flame putter at her.
Very intelligent.
Can I buy that?
firefighting plane land at
There
Hill
you go.
today. Anyway, moving
Yeah.
on.
Yes.
Tennessee woman.
Oh, you have my attention.
She renewed her driver's license online, and then she received it, but there was a bit of a problem with it. I don't know how this got by
I've seen
everybody, but she's not in the
She's a
picture.
vampire.
Is just a chair.
This is more off-putting to me. What is this? Not for federal identification. Papers.
Babe,
Where are your papers?
give me your papers, please.
Not for federal identity. Do your IDs say that in Utah?
No, I don't think so.
What the fuck's up with Tennessee? The volunteer state? Bullshit.
I don't know. That is kind of weird,
I
actually.
guess she didn't opt in for the
Federal
picture.
identification,
Which is,
huh?
Oh, you know what? It does. I bet there's. It
There's gotta
doesn't
be
have.
something on
It
there.
doesn't have the yellow star, so there must be.
Oh, you know, I wonder if that's it because the yellow star has to be used
Wait a
for like
second.
travel and
Yeah,
stuff
that's
like
that's
that.
the
so
federal. So maybe she is a
I'm
terrorist
curious.
or something.
I'm curious how long their IDs last because ours last 10.
They do not.
Arizona's
Yes,
like
they
30
do.
years.
Or
man.
5, sorry.
Yeah, Arizona's
8
like
years?
your
It's
lifetime.
like
It's like
lifetime.
80
Their
years.
lifetime. It's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
it's crazy.
No, it's
Well,
not
no,
lifetime. It is literally like 80 years. They have an expiration date that's like it's like
Well,
what's the point?
this one says for 8 years. It looks like this expiration.
2028.
2028.
Unless this story's 2 years old.
How does that get by? And
Have you seen the DMV workers? It could get by. They look miserable.
But isn't there like a QC
Ooh.
person where they're actually printed, you know?
you guys are gonna get hate mail from DMV workers now.
Please do.
Like ban Chris. All Chris's are bad.
I'll give you my
All Chris's are
address.
bad.
I'll give you my address. Please do. Send me everything.
A cab.
They wouldn't be able to organize enough to come after you. They
No,
can't-
and based on their energy, I'm not really scared.
There you go.
Number 4.
Bring it on.
They don't say it anymore. It's on the
Oh,
thing
yeah.
above.
All right, sorry.
They just
That's
go.
bad. What do you want?
All right, one more story here
That's
before we
over there.
move on, and this one is quite fascinating. Now, as you may or may not know, there's been some race contention
No.
in this country over
In
the
NASCAR?
summer.
Is it NASCAR?
Yeah.
Yeah. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is no longer racing anymore.
Really?
Who knew?
What about
Not
Jeff
Spencer. That's who.
Jeff Gordon. What about Dale Earnhardt Sr.?
Oh, too soon.
Why?
Wow.
Come on.
That
Too
was
soon.
sorry, my bad.
Poor
Wow.
taste.
NASCAR racers matter.
Poor taste.
All right, listen. Look.
Look.
Look, look, listen, look, listen.
Okay. Anyway,
Okay.
Mississippi is they're changing their flag
Yes, they are.
because it had the
Stars and bars.
stars and bars. You know what is something I was thinking about the other day? You know how people from the South, they don't like that they're tearing down statues and such of people
Traitors.
who are traitors.
Right.
I encourage them to go to London and look and see how many statues of George Washington are around. London.
We tore down a statue of King George on July 5th, 1776 in New York City.
There you go.
So why are they tearing down a Ulysses S. Grant statue, though?
Are they?
Yeah, in California.
Because they're
Something like
uneducated.
that. Did they not go to history class?
Why do they want to get rid of Abraham Lincoln statues?
Because
that's also
there's-
part
That's
of it.
that one we talked about. It's
Yeah.
not
Look,
true.
let's not get. This is because they're
Well-
stupid. Anyway, moving on.
Oh,
I'm just
damn.
saying.
Damn.
No, it's fine. New flag.
New flag.
Sorry, are you guys okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just listening to you. Please go. Continue.
Sorry, I feel like I fucked everything up. You know what? We better just start over.
We interrupt your regularly scheduled program to bring you these random headlines.
Anyway, so in Mississippi they changed their flag, and I don't think that you should do this, but they did. They invited people to design a flag and submit it.
Yeah, I saw that.
They took around 3,000 applicants, most of which are just holy crap.
Most of them have Confederate flags inside of them.
No, none of them do. One of the stipulations must have been to have the words "In God We Trust," because it is.
Are these
All
some
of
of them
them.
that you see?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's the one.
What about this
Okay,
mosquito?
so that's what we're here to talk about. That one
Is the mosquito real?
allegedly
stars.
by mistake got placed in
in running.
in the finals.
So it's a flag with 2 red bars on each side, a mosquito in the middle, and a whole bunch of stars. I'm not sure how many stars.
Yeah.
It's probably
Now, it's long
the
been
amount
said
of states in the Confederacy.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
the mosquito.
That can't be possible. It's too many stars. It's probably the state, like what number of state they are. Maybe.
Right.
Yeah.
Or county. I don't know. Whatever.
They just rerouted everything. It looks like, right? I mean,
I do. This one's pretty cool.
So that
Yeah, I like it.
mistakenly got put into the.
Yeah, it got put into the finals. Now, it's long been said that the mosquito is the state bird of Utah. And in fact, when my dad was in the Air Force, he was stationed in Biloxi, Mississippi, and he recounted many times when they accidentally filled up mosquitoes on the tarmac, thinking that they were jet fighters. They put gas and missiles on them, and then they let them go. I believe that story to the fullest because they're pretty terrible.
What the
there.
hell are you talking about, man? Was this one of them for real?
Yeah. No, yeah. That is one that I wanted to show you that made me think of that one show with the women.
Oh, yeah. Gilead. It's the flag of
Yeah.
Gilead. Freaking.
I was like, I don't think people are gonna
Yes.
are gonna like that one.
If I were to watch like a show that was made up about like a racist South, that would be their flag.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
The
Definitely.
stars in a cross.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
Yeah.
It's
I like this star one. I also like this one. Where did it go? This one's kind of cool.
The M
The M?
on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are principles for flag design, and just some of these people they're just so bad. They're just oh, look at this.
So have they chosen yet? How are they choosing?
I don't know. I didn't see. I just
mail-in voting.
Well, we all know that that's flawed, so they're not going to do that. Oh!
We'll mail you a ballot. You let us know which flag you like.
Well, where's the damn mailbox?
I'm surprised there's not there's not a Trump flag in here.
I'll bet it exists.
Well, here's another.
These are the finalists. There was one originally who I'll bet.
Speaking of Trump flags, now that Random Headlines is over,
Oh, yeah.
I wanted to ask a question, okay? Because I was at the Walmart the other day.
The Walmart.
I
The
was,
Walmart.
yeah. And this, well, let's just call him white trash. I don't know. He was ghetto.
At Walmart? Are you kidding?
Redneck?
Yeah.
He was a white
Well,
male.
he
He
was-
is white trash.
He was driving
Basketball
around
shorts on.
in like a 90s Ford Escort, probably.
That's my
So
first car.
One of those, yeah.
Was it really? Are you
Oh, yeah.
kidding? Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
91 Ford Escort.
Nice.
And
Chicks
you
dig
know
it.
the kind of flags that the gigantic flags people put on the back
The
of their
trucks or
trucks.
whatever,
Oh, yeah.
There are 2 flags on this
No
guy's
way.
Escort. One of them is a Trump flag, and one of them is a "Don't Tread on Me" flag.
Oh,
And he's
jeez.
got his windows rolled down, and this weird freaking country rap.
Oh,
is-
I thought you were gonna go with like legit like Sweet Home Alabama.
no. And I'm like, what?
With an escort.
What-
I expected
what is-
New Kids on the Block or something.
If this guy would have been, driving 10 years ago,
Oh my gosh.
what would have he had on his car in place of a Trump flag? What is it about the Trump flag that makes him think that he's cool?
I don't know.
Or is it not that he's cool? It's that he stands out. He's
To
different.
stir
I
the
mean,
pot, man.
I'm just trying to
That's
think
what
of
those- that's what it is.
another presidential candidate ever that had a flag or a hat
Or like a symbol.
or like
or rallies after they've won.
Yeah.
You know.
I think.
the silhouetted hope sticker was a pretty big thing for a while.
It's true,
with-
but it's like a
with-
bumper sticker though.
Yeah,
you
I'm
know?
not going to
Yeah.
classify it in the same kind of category, but I think it was like there was a lot of that going on.
Kind
that
of
I
looks
think
like the Biden flag, right?
the Biden.
Probably.
The hope.
I haven't seen it. I'm genuinely.
You know that guy got
naive to
sued.
this.
The guy who.
I bet you can't even find a Biden flag.
I did see a Biden sign in someone's grass down in Syracuse. I was like, what?
There's someone in my
I
neighborhood
saw
that
Biden
has it
president,
too,
Simple.
Yeah.
and I was like, that's.
See, I thought you were talking about like his new logo that he came out with or something. You were totally kidding. I totally bit that and ran with it.
We should make a sign that just says like presidential election 2020.
I'm gonna put up because I made a couple. You remember I did Alien Invasion 2020
Yeah.
with a picture of the White House exploding with the Independence Day ship over it. I'm gonna put that in my yard. Or
Actually, that was a scene from Independence Day.
yeah, or Yellowstone Volcano 2020. Or a lot of people are voting for Meteor 2020.
Or earthquake.
On the way up
Yeah.
here, it looks like Huntsman's not giving up, huh?
He wants to write in. I got a text that says,
Really?
"Why don't you write in
Really?
Huntsman?" I got a text. Yeah.
Wow.
They took
I
Kafusi's
thought he
name
wasn't
off
gonna
and
do
put
that.
Some other guy's
It was
name.
So
or-
the Democrat could win. Holy shit
yeah.
balls! We got to start campaigning for the Democrat ASAP.
I don't know. I'm fine with Huntsman.
No.
I'm fine
If
with
we have an
Huntsman.
opportunity here,
What
the fuck
I'm just
is
saying.
wrong with you?
I'm
The
just saying.
primary was pretty close between him and Cox. So
We have an opportunity here. If he's
I'm
going to
okay.
split the vote,
I'm okay with Huntsman
He could
and
split
Cox.
the vote.
I am okay with Huntsman. But in fact,
I love Cox.
would cack.
when you said it the first time, I knew it was coming. I knew that joke was coming.
You like the test?
Wait, I thought you were a Spencer Cox.
No,
fan
I like Spencer Cox. I'm
because of
fine.
his name.
I'm
I-
fine.
uh,
No, no, I think
Wait,
he's fine.
Spencer or
like,
Cox?
like my mom. My mom asked me who to vote for, and I was like, "It's
It's the
man,
best of
they're
both
fine.
worlds.
They're both good. I like.
Is that
I might
real?
like
For
Huntsman.
real?
He's pushing really heavily for a write-in vote right now.
That's
which
really
is-
surprising.
Which is really bad politics if you think about it, because like if he really just wanted it to be still right wing, he has to know he's splitting the vote at this point.
Yeah.
There's no way he's going to win on
Yeah.
a write-in campaign.
That's really
No,
strange.
they're
I
gonna
wouldn't
split
have
it.
Yeah.
like. Why?
I saw
I
that.
wonder why he's wanting to do that. Like he's accomplished. He's been governor.
I would love
He's
it.
been the ambassador to China and
was a
Russia.
step.
Like why does
Yeah.
he? Why does he want
It's a
to?
stepping stone.
I don't
Sometimes
know.
you got to keep your
I
name
think
in the game for a little bit.
Right.
I
He
guess.
wants. He's probably going to run in 2024, and he's thinking that Trump might win. Right? Or he can't
Right.
run against Trump.
Right.
He could have in
I'd
the primary.
I'd vote for him. I'd vote.
I'd vote for Huntsman.
I'd go Republican
But
to vote for Huntsman.
wouldn't it be great if Utah got a Democrat governor and everything just went swimming?
I
No,
don't
it
want to
would not.
hear about people
No, it would
complaining
not.
about
That
it.
would be terrible.
Be
What are you
awesome.
talking about? Salt Lake already runs the show. What are you talking about?
Yeah, it's great.
It's
I've
terrible.
I've not voted Democratic governor since I've been able to vote.
Yeah,
You have not?
I like Chris. I knew I liked Chris.
They're probably
not?
Checks and balances, man. And most of the governors
that's
I've
fair.
respected.
That's fair.
Wait a second.
So go back.
we have a
little bit.
Republican legislature, and you're saying
Right.
you wouldn't vote for a Democrat because you'd
So,
want to check and
I-
balance
No,
them?
no.
You just said yourself it would all go leftist if we.
No, I said it would all go
Here.
swimmingly. If you heard
Swimmingly.
leftist,
Well, swimmingly to you is leftist. If I said it went swimmingly, you'd assume it was
I
more
know,
right leaning.
no, because I've said on this show, on this very show, that our state does just fine.
yeah, our
I
state
think our
is
legislature's
looked-
dumb. They argue about liquor
Oh,
for
I-
40 days out of
I
the
agree with
45,
that.
but
our state's actually looked at very highly
We
for a
always do
lot
well.
of stuff. Yeah,
we always do well.
yeah.
No, no.
Economically, we're really good. Social
But
issues were really good.
It would be great to have someone who's not, bought and paid for by the church.
We have cars
That's
turned over.
kind of true. I agree with
No, I'm
that.
going back through who I voted for, but
Yeah, I'm still
they're
confused
all-
on your logic.
So I'm going. Okay, so I voted for Huntsman. I voted for Herbert. I voted for Levitt. I voted for. Is there somebody in between them too? Levitt, and Huntsman.
Well,
Yeah, Eileen
Huntsman left, so whoever.
Eileen was with Levitt.
Levitt.
right?
She was his lieutenant.
Yeah, I don't
so
think
when
I
he left-
voted Democratic governor-wise.
Yeah.
Ever.
Well, they haven't been any good ones, probably.
But to I think Jake's point, like I think the local legislature stuff is garbage. 'cause
Yeah, there's
they-
a lot of big.
they'll complain over. They'll try and figure out what contents are in fry sauce for 45 days. But but the government. It seems like the leadership's been good, right? For the most part, I can't go back in the governors
Until
that I
COVID.
voted for.
You're gonna find issues everywhere you
Sure.
go. Yeah.
No, Herbert totally fumbled the ball on the goal line with COVID, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Well, it's because he's out of he's like, why am I
But he's
still
a
here? I
lame duck.
should have
He's a
just
lame duck
left.
governor,
Why
right?
did I take this last term? I wouldn't have.
That's the point. That's the point.
And
is
that's what I help-
Why does he care if he stirs the pot? He can just. He
I've
didn't say
always-
anything
yeah.
forever.
And that's why I find that Spencer Cox is, we've talked about it before. When you're a part of an administration, you get the rewards, but you also get the negatives, right? And to me, what happened with us initially and some of that rioting and stuff, Cox is not.
It's going to damage him, you think?
It's attached to him still a little bit. And he's even wobbling the back on the whole mask thing, right? He's kind of wobbled back on a few things
It would be
already.
cool to see someone win on a ride-in just out of principle, just for the history of
It's
it.
true.
Can you imagine what his face would look like if he lost?
Cox?
Yeah.
No, that's what it would look like.
Zing!
Yeah, I'd be pissed if I was him right now
Yeah.
because it's a total loss.
He
at this
thought he
point
had
for
Huntsman in the
write-ins.
rearview mirror.
Yeah, that is. I'm really surprised that Huntsman did that. To be
That's
honest,
crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty dirty.
Yeah, there's one on Uinta and there's one closer up here. That
He shouldn't have. He just shouldn't have conceded. Should have asked for a recount.
I know. All right.
There goes a drum.
What is that?
It's a new sounder. It's for which wing?
Oh.
I
Sounds
like
a
it.
drone getting
Yeah,
hit.
yeah.
That was a very timely joke.
So you guys listen to the past couple episodes.
Yeah.
He goes. Are you on All Sides? Is that right?
I am allsides.com balance news there. The more I read on here, the more that they have sold me on their thing here. So hopefully they can stick around for a while.
Do you have 3? So we can
I'll
guess.
I have a lot more than 3. I've got plenty.
Let's do 3.
Yeah.
I'll guess, then Chris, then Jake.
Yeah.
I'm slightly intimidated because you knocked him out of the park.
No.
But last time,
Last
Last
time,
time-
the first couple I was.
Yeah.
We stopped doing center.
and that changes it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just doing left or right.
Yeah, it's really easy to guess from like Trump is an asshole or Trump is not an asshole.
Right. Trump's the best thing ever. Yeah.
Okay.
Trump Christ has done it again. It's his middle name. Do you see his brother died?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got the news report and I was like, Trump dead, and then I was like,
Oh man, that is a mean headline.
I think Spencer alluded to this earlier. I went, you know how like you scroll through Facebook and they share an article of like Roger Trump dying or whatever, and then I click on the comments just for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
I am blown away on stuff. It could be his brother's dying, whatever. As soon as you tap any news source in Utah or whatever, you hit the comments.
No,
You read 3 and you get it the hell out.
then you kill yourself because they're so terrible.
It's unbelievable.
It's unbelievable.
It's
what
crazy.
people say.
You can go comment, just don't read the responses.
Yeah. Unless because there's just these 47 previous messages and you click on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's gross.
Yeah, apparently he was. I don't know a lot about Roger Trump. Apparently he was really even keeled, but then he was the one who tried to put a stop to the book that Trump's niece put out. Was it his daughter?
I think it was his daughter that.
Oh,
is it
so
his-
Trump had him killed.
Oh,
Or Clinton did.
I would believe that over Trump.
Of course you would. Of course you would.
Clinton's smarter though.
Yeah. Clinton, that's what I
He'd
told.
know how to do it.
I was talking to my mom the other day. Who's quite left leaning, and I
Trump,
was
Trump doesn't know how to get anyone killed.
he's not smart
He's
enough.
incompetent.
Yeah. I was like, why are the Clintons this like a way they could just wash anything off their hands? It feels like they're so dirty. And she goes, well, Trump's no different. They're like, I don't necessarily disagree with that, but
No,
he's not
you
smart
remember
enough to get
Bill's
away with it.
Bill's nickname when he was governor? Pretty sure it was Teflon Bill, if
Yeah?
I remember right, wasn't it?
I don't know. I just know my grandpa always called him Slick
Willie?
Will.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
So you're-
Anyway.
Anyway.
Go
Oh,
ahead.
sorry.
I'll talk to him after.
All right.
I'm interested in his position though this year because you're kind of conservative, right?
I'm
But-
mostly conservative. I'm moderate socially, very right fiscally.
See, I'm just curious to hear, because I mean, I hear a lot of stuff, and I think a lot of people are, maybe that are in your position are really in a
Dude,
debacle this year.
If you gun to my head, who am I voting for? I genuinely can't answer, because I cannot.
Just do it, man.
I can't vote for Trump. I just can't.
Do you
No,
think
that's
he's
what I.
gonna dump,
Okay, that wasn't what I was saying.
Oh, no.
Do you think he's going to dump Pence?
shoot myself? Is that what you're gonna say?
No, I
gun
was
to
gonna-
my head. And
I
Brian
was
says,
saying just do it, and
No.
then you said,
Because have you heard
I
those
can't vote
rumors?
for Trump.
No, I don't think
Yeah.
he'll drop Pence because that's his.
No.
He's losing the
That's his-
religious vote
that's
like
his
like
evangelical
mad,
100%.
and Pence is his only key to
Because Nikki
keeping
Haley's
them.
names come out.
Pence will
this
talk
week.
a
This
ton
is-
of religion in the debates.
This
trying
is
to get
all
that
about.
back.
I shared a meme, and it's about who's going to replace Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
I thought
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
a phenomenal
good.
answer.
That was good.
And if that's the case, I'll vote for Trump because I don't want a left person to replace
Then it
him.
would
Why?
be even.
What decision are you afraid of?
Nothing. I'm just saying that to be funny, honestly. No,
It's not funny, Jake.
My genuine answer will actually piss Brian off. I'm genuinely going third party, most likely.
It's a vote for Trump.
It drives him crazy.
It's a vote for Trump.
I know. I get that.
Y'all did it 4 years ago.
I have an argument that counters it if you want to get into it, or we could talk about that in another day. 'cause
Do
we're
it.
Pretty long.
What?
I want to hear his
All
argument.
right.
My number one argument, and I get that there's holes in this, but I think it's a valid conversation, is that if all we do is push that a third party vote is useless, then it's going to continue to always be useless.
The third party
It
vote.
will continue to be useless until we get ranked voting.
That's
The
fair.
third party is important in a primary.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't have any say. Like in the primary, what could I have done, right? Like I can't get Joe is the person. She's the libertarian. Who like I can't get her onto any debate stage. I can't like it's just being suppressed so heavily that nobody can hear this person, whoever the third party's view. That I just get bugged that when people say, well, voting for them is vote for Trump. And you're not wrong, statistically speaking. But if we continue to let that happen, then the numbers are going to stay low, and then they're never going to be able to get a voice.
Who's the candidate you're after?
Joe.
Not
Joe Biden.
Jorgensen is
Joe
the
Jorgensen.
is the
Joe,
libertarian.
jerk me off, Jorgensen.
And
Sorry, I don't know where that guy. I have no idea.
That was fun.
I have
but
no.
But even then, because I know statistically speaking that that's a vote for Trump, I then I just don't know.
I'll tell you what.
It's hard.
I still stand by the same principle. A general election is not the place to try and get a third party candidate.
Well, how else are you going to get
You gotta
movement
do it
behind a third party?
You got to grassroots it.
Well, that's to me. This is kind of
not in a general election.
I think it
you
is.
do you do grassroots during a midterm.
It's
and try and get
I
third party
see what
senators
Brian is saying because it's
or representatives.
It's true that
Everybody did
the
this-
general election. It's voting on principles. Kind of got to. It's right or left. You got to pick because otherwise your vote doesn't count.
Yeah, but having
I
a
know.
two-party system is so broken.
I know, but you can't fix that in a general election.
I completely, I 100% agree with you. I think it's stupid that we have to pick, but I don't.
Because to Spencer's point, I mean, he didn't want to be associated with certain movements, right? Because he spoke about that earlier. I think there's a valid argument that there's right now more than ever. You could really introduce a third party. Not in a general election. But there is because I think you and I are pretty similar.
We're probably pretty close.
But our views might be different.
Yeah.
But I think our voting style would be similar.
Yeah.
And I think it's nowhere near kind of like what you said. He doesn't want to be associated with you
need it's got to start
and all that stuff like that. But he doesn't want to be associated with just because he votes Democratic. As soon as someone says, "Oh yeah, I voted for Biden," oh, which statute did you take down this week?
Yeah. Yeah, well, but another thing, and this is why, I think it's going to vary state to state, because Utah, even though it's pink, like established earlier, it's going to go red.
This is the one election where I'm like,
I don't know
if there was ever a chance.
Yeah, but my one vote's not going to matter. It's not going to swing that different. Me personally, I think I
would
would rather.
I don't think it's going to. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But if there was in the history,
if
of
there
our
were
state,
more people that weren't going to vote third party, Utah could flip. There are there's so many people. My mom's like, I cannot vote Democrat. I won't vote for Trump.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna vote here. Well, let's just
so
don't
why
vote.
So why not have more people vote third party, and then the next time around they'll look at the numbers and say, look how many are actually third party. Let's let.
I'll
that
tell
third
you
party
why.
debate.
Because Trump's gonna win if you do that.
If I do that.
If you specifically
in the state that's already going to go to him regardless of my vote because the numbers are so heavy the other way, right? Why not the national numbers show, hey, a certain percentage nationally voted third party, so next time around let's maybe give them a shot.
Because you still have to have people,
podium.
right? It can't just be Joe Jorgensen. You have to have at least a caucus of some sort.
Fair.
You can't just have it's like Joe Jorgensen and Rand Paul, and even Rand Paul is questionable as a libertarian.
Yeah.
So
no, it's hard. I genuinely don't know that, and I'm having a genuine.
He's
hard time
literally gonna close his eyes and just check a box and.
No, this is what I lose sleep over. I really do because I don't want Trump, but
this
but
really
Biden
is a great case for
me.
ranked voting.
It really is.
Would it be easier if they
But-
impeached Trump and Pence was the president for you?
No, I don't like Pence.
But
No.
I could tell you this: if it was
There's
ranked
so
voting,
many more Republicans that are way better than these two. Yeah.
pretend like it is ranked voting.
How would I put them?
Yeah.
And then this is where you're going to get your freaking answer because you're smart enough to know it'd be Joe Jorgensen, Joe Biden, and then Trump. Yeah.
And then Jorgensen wouldn't get enough votes, so
then
your
it
vote
would
would be for Biden.
I know.
There's your
I
answer.
know.
Let's move on.
Wow, that's a good point. That's what everyone needs to do.
I
They
just
need to
lost
look
all
inside
my right-wing
themselves.
cred.
You're not the only one. I just read.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of people.
I read
No,
a
there
whole.
are Democrats who are doing that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The Bernie people, and they did it 4 years ago. They're going to do it again and fuck it all up.
Yeah.
You think they're gonna do it?
Of course they will.
I think more people are okay with Biden.
I think Biden's going to win. Don't get me wrong.
I think Biden's
but
gonna be in there
there's
for 4
still a
years.
bunch of Bernie people, even though Bernie has put all of his steam behind Biden and Kamala,
I hear you.
they're still going to vote for Joe.
You think Biden's
Joe
gonna do
Jorgensen.
1 or 2 terms?
I think
Biden?
he's going to
I
do
would
one.
say
you think he'll
one.
even live to a second term? No, sorry.
He'll only do one.
No,
I don't think he
He
will.
hasn't. If he hasn't committed by now, then what's going to change, right?
Yeah.
Power does a lot of things.
He'd be so old, man.
Yeah, I
He'll
know,
be
I know.
83 if he's inaugurated a
Be
second
the
term.
emperor? Is that what you're saying?
No, the emperor is Mitch McConnell for sure. He's a senator and he runs the shit.
I am the senator.
Did you know that before this
Term
little
limits.
recess that McConnell called just barely
Mm-hmm.
to not negotiate on the bill anymore. He
We're so
slammed
far
through
off.
seven.
We're so
He
far off.
slammed through 7 federal judges.
Really? I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
Yeah. Oh, we can't decide on a bill, but we'll slam
But
through
we'll
7
see-
more
yeah,
judges.
Yeah. They're all dirty, dude. They all need to go. They
Yeah.
all need. I mean, term limits need to be a thing. All that good stuff.
Let's do the Jack Bauer.
Left, right, center. Let's go.
The Last Man Standing, or what's it called?
Jack Bauer.
Yes.
I love it.
The-
Yeah.
What's that? Where they
Designated
They
survivor.
kill everybody. and we
Except
just
the
start
last
over.
designated survivor we had was freaking Orrin Hatch.
Oh.
Actually, no, he wasn't in office. He was one of them, though.
Wow, that was a long time
Anyway,
ago. if he was-
to your point, there's a great read here on apnews.com. Mormons cool to Trump are finding new influence in Arizona. It just talks about people who are in your position, who
Yeah.
are just like,
That's why I was fascinated with it.
I can't, I don't know what to do.
How do you feel about Orrin Hatch starting this Mormons for Trump group?
It's using his platform, right, both politically and religiously.
I don't like
to-
it.
yeah.
I
think
can't help
it's-
but think that
I
the
think it's
church is behind it too.
I think it's completely jacked up.
I struggle with that conversation. I get where you're coming from, and I can't really refute it.
I know
But
there's
it's hard.
there's
yeah.
no way to know, but
Their fingers are so in everything, and I get that. But but at the same time, is he holding any current office? Is there anything that's against what he's doing, like other than maybe
I don't know.
morally a little bit? Like
Right, I don't know why Orrin is so obsessed with Trump.
I don't know
If
either.
Trump
Trump
might-
has something on him.
If anything,
honestly,
if
yeah.
anything, when a Republican leaves office, like John Kasich is speaking at the DNC at the
Yeah.
convention.
Yeah.
Pretty
Yeah,
good.
yeah. Like a lot of like the Republicans that I usually would be a fan of, just like don't like him. I mean,
Yeah.
but it's the whole like, well, I'd rather him than a Democrat, so let's
Sure.
go with him, and it's just, and that's really toxic too.
I don't
That's,
like
that's
them.
bad. Yeah.
All right, moving on here.
Yeah.
What the heck just happened? That was crazy,
It's a
man.
good combo.
I
We're
mean,
never getting invited back again together.
Never.
Ever.
Drone, look out.
all right, Brian. This question is for you, or this headline is for you.
Okay.
And remember, you always get bonus points if you can name the
Oh,
source
that's right,
that
that's
it
right.
comes from.
Oh boy.
Let's see here. Klein-Smith criminal plea hints more hoax conspirators will be charged.
Left. Right.
No, that is from the right. American Greatness is the source. Don't know who that is. This is talking about former FBI lawyer Kevin Klein-Smith to plead guilty in falsifying Russia probe document. The left says what today's guilty plea in the Russia probe shows and what it doesn't, and that's from CNN.
Wait a second. He falsified documents to make Trump look better?
Yep, that's what
Wow.
it looks like.
Interesting. Have to look into that.
All right, Chris, are you ready for one?
I've never been more ready.
Let's see. Oh, this is.
Yes, have some.
You're a jerk, Ken.
Wow, this one is. We're just gonna
Go
do it.
ahead.
It's fine. NYPD union endorses Trump. We need your strong voice across the country.
Right.
Can you guess the source?
Fox News? No.
It's not Fox News.
Okay.
It's the New York Post.
New York Post.
This one you were going to get either way because the left says. So the right says NYPD union endorses Trump. The left says Postal Workers Union endorses Biden. Obama criticizes Trump's USPS position.
Man, New York Post, like, a lot of people trust that source, and they're really, really biased. Like,
Haven't they always been kind of a skeevy?
They're kind of a smut rag. Like, what do you like? What's that?
Jizz
A
rag?
tabloid.
Tabloid.
Like
that's
National
what it is,
Enquirer?
Tabloid,
Yeah.
yeah.
They're like a tabloid or
The
a
Sun?
National Enquirer
The
light.
Sun?
But
Yeah.
they've gotten like a little bit of cred, but they're
Right.
not. Yeah.
They were right on a couple headlines.
They broke one good news story
Right,
once, and all of a
right.
sudden they're like, "Look at these guys! They're on the up and up."
Don't you remember that thing from '98?
Yeah.
That was us.
They blew the lid off of Monica Lewinsky thing, man.
We had the pictures of the dress. It
That was
right
just
here.
that was just a guess, and we were right.
The reporter in the back of his head, he's like, "Whoa, I was
Holy
lucky."
shit!
Man, how'd you score that one?
All right, are you ready, Jake?
Let's do this.
Uh,
Right wing Blaze TV. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, God.
Democrats say they are ramping up USPS investigation and call on top officials to testify.
Democrats say?
Democrats say they are ramping up on USPS investigation and call on top officials to testify.
My gut reaction is that that's a right wing because they identify Democrat, but then I'm going to go back and say it's wrong, so it's left.
I know it's weird, right?
Yeah,
It's weird.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because they have to appear to be neutral, so they're going to identify that the Democrats are in their
Yeah.
title.
Bonus points if you can name the news organization.
It's clearly the most left that exists, CNN.
I mean, MSNBC, really. Nice. Nice. Bonus points. Jake wins this episode.
Boom.
All right, I want to do one more
Dang
here
right.
because this one's actually pretty tough here, and you guys can all just
Shout it out.
take a guess here.
Left.
Still playing the Rock's music. I love the Rock. I'm sexually attracted to him. Anyways,
He's a man crush of mine. I'm not going to
it's
lie.
not his body; it's his personality that I'm attracted to.
Which area of the
I'm
body
saying
is
the
that?
other way back.
The body's just a bonus. Anyway,
Body's just a boner. Bonus.
bonus. We're so
okay. A pandemic.
dumb. Pandemic?
The pandemic of depression. CDC reveals huge numbers of young people considered, people who consider suicide due to COVID.
Right.
Right.
Really?
That's definitely right.
I'm going left.
Well, the majority rules.
Yeah. I'll tell you why. It's the same argument that we talked about being like, they want to flood your newsfeed with stuff that's not like BLM, right? So they're like, oh, COVID has a downfall and it's this depression stuff.
Oh, I
like,
see what you're saying.
Right? Which I think is
Who's the
a valid
source?
argument.
Can you guess the source?
This is a tough one.
The Hill.
I'm trying to think of like a legit weird I don't know.
It's not. It's not. I wouldn't say it's legit.
Blaze TV?
CBN.
CBN.
Christian Broadcasting Network.
That's definitely right.
Yeah.
I know a lot of Muslims who listen to that.
That's so good.
Man. All right. Well, before we wrap up here, we have one more thing
I
that
was
we.
just getting started. What do you mean
Yeah.
wrap up?
Good second winner.
We're like 3 hours in. I think this is our last thing we want to do, right? Oh no. I want to have a 4-way brainstorm real quick. One.
I'm glad that sentence ended differently.
Want to have a 4-way brainstorm.
real quick.
Bad placement of comma.
Now, as you guys may or may not know, I've been watching a lot of alien documentaries lately. The good ones, not the, crazy ones. Although I will say Ancient Aliens is starting to pull me in.
Literally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Follow the light.
Now, here's my question, and I want a brainstorming session to figure out some reasons here. If there are aliens, and we have recovered remains and pieces in the U.S. of the craft, why would the government be covering it up? What are the reasons behind? One thing I thought of is if they were to reveal that there were aliens from another planet, we weren't alone, that might make religion collapse in the United States or in the world, which could therein cause craziness, murders, people lose their sense of right and wrong, just belligerence, craziness.
The only one that makes sense to me is like weaponry.
Yeah.
To keep it hidden.
Yeah.
Yeah. we
From
just
our enemies.
So like if
we just-
America recovered it, then we
wouldn't.
don't want the rest of the world
Right.
to know.
So we wouldn't even tell our own people because spies.
That's probably the best argument that I would jump on. Yeah.
Brainstorm over.
All right.
Well, the religious aspect to me, my counter to that is that, if you believe that God can create this earth, then why could he not create another?
It does say. it does say that he's created worlds without number.
That's true.
But
So-
if they came up looking like the Independence Day monsters,
Which I don't think that's the case.
How
I think
dare
that
you
they
call
were
them
the
monsters?
I know,
also.
I know.
Maybe we're the monsters.
They
Jesus-
just needed some resources.
Jesus' second coming is he's gonna look like the Independence Day, and we're like, whoa, this is a little odd. This is
Oh.
unexpected.
Where's your beard?
How was that my image?
yeah,
Well, it's like my son. He saw that the F-117 just showed up at the museum, right?
yeah, yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, Dad, what?" He goes, "That looks like some alien ship." I'm like, "Where do you go? Where do you think we got it from?"
I know.
Yeah, right.
You know what's
'Cause it
weird?
looks way
No,
weird.
but it's weird.
Uh-huh.
On that topic, because once I saw it being delivered, I looked into it more because they had to strip it down completely.
Oh,
They-
that front part. Yep.
You know, well, they demilitarized it, and that was more than just
They
taking.
DMZ'd it?
That was more than taking out the missiles.
Uh-huh.
Like, apparently, there's parts of it that are still super top secret, and
Wow.
I'm like, why? We have planes that are way better. Like, what about that plane is still?
Oh, this is the new helicopter for you.
Yeah,
now.
well, I don't know. I just think it's weird, right? I
What's
don't know.
the other one that's just a giant wing? What's
B2.
that one?
The
The
B,
B2.
yeah.
To me, that one's weirder.
The bomber?
Yeah.
My son calls it Batman's true.
Oh, dude,
plane.
that's slick.
Yeah.
That one's
Sick
more
plane.
weird to me than the F-117.
That looks more alien to
yeah.
me.
It's
Yeah.
it's like the smooth hump.
That's a great band name.
My
by the way.
hump, smooth hump.
Wow, look at that.
Warped Tour.
Warped Tour
Jeez.
this year.
That's Spencer's call sign.
Dude.
There's smooth hump.
Come on back.
All right.
Smooth hump, supersonic.
No, it's a supersonic smooth hump.
Oh, all right. To wrap things up here,
Ridiculous.
man, I love this song. Not yet. It's got to get to this. The little.
Gotta wait for the hook.
When the beat drops.
There's the hook.
What's the guy's name? I know Vanna White.
Pat Sajak.
Pat Sajak me
Pat
up.
motherfucking Sajak.
I'm Pat Sajak.
That was
Oh,
an alias.
man.
Is that an alias for him?
Yeah.
Also,
What is that?
I just clicked on the next thing. The peregrine falcon.
Oh, it's awesome.
That must be what we modeled that bird.
Whoa. We modeled that bird.
Modeled that bird
We
after
We
that
modeled
bird.
the bird
Right
after the plane.
maximum.
I just want to get your take on Kamala.
Oh, I think it's a great pick.
Think you got to pick somebody else?
You know, of course he could have.
Who would you have?
No.
he couldn't
Oh,
have. He
who I
said
think
he was
he-
going to pick a black woman. He had like 3 choices
Right.
at that point.
Did he say
only-
black woman?
Yeah, he did. He
I thought it
specific-
was woman only.
No,
I
he
thought
said,
he
he
said
said
woman
woman, and then he said it will
Woman
be
of
a black
color?
woman.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean Stacey Abrams, I thought was a choice.
was.
But,
Stacy Keebler was really attractive. I don't know if you guys
But I
remember
think-
her.
no,
I'll
I think
pull up
it's
a picture.
it's obviously a safe choice. You know,
Is it?
Well, the
Really?
reason,
Yeah, it was expected.
the reason I
Yeah.
like I want
I don't
to
think it's a safe choice.
ask you directly because I mean you've come out lately a lot with the criminal justice
Sure.
stuff, and she's not squeaky clean.
She's
I-
been,
No.
yeah.
No, but she's changed her role
I
a
agree.
lot.
Mhm.
Which
So
some would argue is because she did it to get to a certain office and then she adjusted is like a talking point on it.
Right.
I'm not necessarily saying I think that's true or not because I don't know enough, but
right,
at the
that's
same
politics.
time, like who else hasn't done
Right,
that?
that's
Yeah.
politics.
Yeah.
So
My biggest thing, and I don't really have, I don't care too much whether for her. I mean, I don't know that much, right? I don't really have a strong opinion.
she made
about
Brett Kavanaugh cry. That's all you need to know.
it.
That's not hard to do, though.
No.
You just take away his burr.
My only issue with the Kamala Harris thing is that Biden he talked himself into a corner by saying he's trying to please certain people in his populace, saying, "Oh, it's going to be a woman. It's going to be a woman." Okay, I have no problem with it being a woman. This doesn't bother me. It's going to be a black woman. Well, why are you saying that? Is it because you genuinely think that she's the right person? Or are you saying that to like get the people behind you excited?
yeah. To be
he's lucky that she's qualified, or else he talked himself into a spot where he would have had to pick somebody not
To
qualified.
be
Or someone who
fair,
just nobody knew.
To be
Yeah.
fair,
Right.
I think almost every vice presidential pick
It's
is
always a
is
gamble.
always based on politics.
I don't disagree.
Yeah.
with
It's.
that, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
was Homegirl from Alaska qualified,
No.
or was she a
No,
woman?
that's
Yeah,
the
there
worst. Yeah, and that's a
was-
great example of
There's
the
a
other
great
way. Where,
HBO.
Was
Yeah.
Pence qualified, or did he just
Yeah,
pander to the religious?
Well, in terms of qualified, sure, he was a governor, so he had executive experience.
Yeah,
was
but
that?
he was also a radio DJ, which should
And he's also an
disqualify you from
asshole.
everything.
But, yeah. No, that's why I say I think she was safe.
yeah,
Right? I think not because she's a black woman that actually can hurt.
could,
right?
yeah,
But because it was expected, and that's what's safe. You know,
Sure.
feels like every time they do an unexpected VP pick, like Sarah Palin,
yeah.
it's like what? were you thinking?
He was going for the woman vote.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was
which
watching
hate.
something during my work from home experience. I know I'm not very productive, but anyway, I was. They were kind of going over the ones that were made the short list, and honestly, I didn't see one that didn't have a possible flaw, right?
Well, no, of course not.
Like, or one that was, I wouldn't say squeaky clean.
What
but
about
like one
Jesus
that was,
Christ? He was
'cause
on there,
obviously
wasn't
Susan
he?
Rice. They were wanting Susan Rice, right, because of Benghazi, right?
Yeah.
They were like, oh, bring her, come on, whatever.
Yeah.
The right was like, yeah,
Yeah,
we'll
they were
eat that
feasting
up.
on that one,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And then they weren't going to do. I don't think they were going to do a white woman because that would have been just, oh look, 2 white people
Yeah.
on the ticket again. And to me, maybe it's the good timing because of where we're at right now.
Absolutely
And,
good timing.
But there is one other person that I felt like was pretty. She's not as well known as Kamala Harris, but there's one other person that I felt had some street cred, but I think there was some other landmines there, and it was Val Demings, right? You know who she is?
No. Wait, yes, I've
yeah,
heard
she's
her
from
name.
Florida, and she's in a critical state that he needs. California is a given, right? So
Yeah, that's been the biggest counter I've heard. Is like, why would you pick somebody from a state that you're already going to win?
Well, if you're
Yeah.
looking at that electoral map, he doesn't need Florida to win.
no,
Yeah. Yeah.
but it helps.
It definitely it's a lot of votes.
Lately,
Yeah.
I
Florida's
don't think
been the
I don't think it'll
stepchild,
be
you know?
I don't think it'll be a swing state this year though.
Yeah.
No.
You think it's gonna go right or left?
No, I
Oh,
think
left.
it's gonna I think it's gonna go right.
Do you?
Well, originally I said left on
Oh,
my
okay.
prediction. I don't know, but I don't think it's a swing in terms of it's going to
It's the
decide
difference
election.
maker.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think that's going to happen this year. Is my point.
My only caution with her a little bit was because of where we're at. I mean, granted, she's a woman of color or whatever, but a lot of people have problems with the criminal justice system right now, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
I don't have enough faith in the American people to think past a couple steps.
That's true. Good
so
point.
I think she'll be able to talk it out easily.
I don't know if you remember this, but earlier he said he doesn't have faith in Republicans to think past one step. Was that on the? Was that on the podcast?
It's true. Yeah.
Is that on the record?
Yeah, and I stand by that.
I know you do. I just wanted to point it out.
I stand by my comments.
I think you're right, and you're already seeing, and it drives me freaking crazy, and I hate this. It's just talking points that people want to bring up, that people start talking about, bringing up like, well, is she truly an American? Because her dad was from. and her
come
mom was from.
on.
Like, shut up. Like,
Birtherism's
let's-
coming back.
Let's talk about policy all day long. I'll take that all day long. I'll even take a conversation about like her record and as a prosecutor and stuff. I think that's all valid conversation, but get the rest of it out of
You know
here.
who was never birthered? Ted Cruz.
Yeah.
He was born in
He's from
Canada.
You have got to give me a little warning before you say.
That sound haunts me in my dreams. Every time I hear anybody say Ted Cruz in the back of my head.
Yeah.
Ted Cruz.
It seemed like the like Fox News people and stuff were pointing out flaws in Kamala Harris that are the same as Trump's. Like they were saying,
Of course.
well, she does this and this,
Oh,
and they were.
Evidence.
Yeah.
This was hilarious because my mom's a big fan of Kamala Harris, and I called her because I do listen to Glenn Beck quite a bit, and he was like, Kamala Harris is the Trump of the left, all right? And now he qualified it with saying she doesn't do things by the book, and that some leftists may not like that because she's gonna kind of be like, hey, you know what? This is a little bit of a new game now.
Yeah.
Right. And that was his point. And I was like, that's pretty decent. So knowing she loved him so much, I was like, hey, guess what? A right winger you hate said that this is the left wing's Trump.
It's fair if the vice president does anything, which she could very well be the
can.
president, and
Yeah.
She's gonna be the Cheney.
Dick
Is that
Cheney
what you
did a
think?
lot. I don't know. I don't think
She's
so.
gonna be the
but-
vice.
Dick Cheney ran the government.
I know he did. I know he did.
Who is Mark Levin?
I have no idea.
Mark Levin dubs Kamala Harris the most extremist radical politician ever to run for high office
What
in the
a
USA.
joke headline.
Oh, it's-
Holy
That's
cow.
straight from Fox News.
That's Glenn Beck's intern.
I was like, is it?
No.
Is it Mark Levine? I think is actually
Oh,
how you
yeah,
pronounce
probably.
that. Yeah, yeah. I've heard the name. Yeah.
Crazy.
Jake,
Well,
you have anything else?
No, man, I've done way more than I
No.
should have talking wise. So
Well, thanks for being here,
yeah,
both of you.
absolutely.
Absolutely. It's nice to have a quad night.
It's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun, guys.
always enjoy a circle for.
Shut up.
We
I-
love you guys.
I enjoyed hanging out with my friends. Thanks for the
Yeah.
invite back.
All right, everybody. Find us at The Arctic Pod on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. TheArcticPodcast.com. You can watch this episode, listen to all of them. For episode 94, I'm Brian.
I'd just like to thank our producers, John Wilkinson Roberts here at Scary Parrot Media, and Bob Newhart, Sigourney Weaver. And I'm Spencer. We'll see you next time.